Greetings, friends, as we are here for day 3 of the English-speaking Chinese Contenders broadcast. I am absolutely stoked to be here for this day 3 alongside my co-caster Kenobi, where we've already had a couple of exciting days of Chinese
If that's what you want to call it,
Overwatch.
that's what you want to call it.
Absolutely, I'm going to
Entertaining
call it that,
for sure.
I mean, let's
Entertaining
just
for sure.
entertaining is an understatement, my friend, for those that have been tuning in. But let's just take a quick pulse at how these last 2 days going into this third day is looking, as we do actually have our first game of the day being the two heavy hitters here, Kenobi.
Yeah, the two titans, I would say, of the Chinese Contenders region will be duking it out first with Team Chaser versus Bilibili Gaming to decide which team goes to our grand finals first and which team has to play a couple more games through that loser's bracket. And then on the other side, you've got Time Resume versus Up Academy, a matchup that I don't think anyone kind of expected to be there, especially with Time Resume coming in and playing so well towards the back end of the season. As you can see the schedule here, starting off with that Team Chaser game, then moving down to the lower bracket. It is shaping up to be a fantastic day of Overwatch, I believe, Rich.
Yeah, and I mean, again, these two teams I think all of us have been really looking forward to, and we've commented about how Bilibili Gaming is the favorite going into this, but it is literally just two of these well-known teams going head-to-head as we take a look at the predictions here. Door with the randomizer for sure going to choose otherwise of Moxie, myself, and you, which is the norm at this point. But I mean, again, to be fair, Team Chaser, you know, they've had their moments, and you and I both, you know, conversed about this back in day 1 when it came to their, you know, competition against Up Academy, and that even though they did take the win over Up Academy, they still have a lot to refine going into this game with Bilibili for them to actually claim the win here.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see in this matchup if they have refined those things, because there are some things that Team Chaser really need to step up in terms of just their gameplay to be able to match up against BLG, who have been just this kind of god in Chinese Contenders so far, especially throughout this entire season. I think their map streak is, I'm not quite sure exactly what it is right now, but I think it's above 20 at the current moment we are at in the tournament. So they haven't lost in a very long time. They went undefeated last split that we had and only dropped, I think, 3 maps in total, which were all 3 to Team Chasers. So if there is a team that seems like they can take down Bilibili, it is Team Chaser, but we have to see if they've had those refinements.
And then, you know, to build in addition to that, when we look at the losers bracket portion, just that we can understand, you know, the competition between Time Resume and Up Academy. You commented with Door yesterday that Time Resume is kind of like the Cinderella story. They're here to prove themselves and face off against Up, who, mind you, has really done quite well over the course of not only this playoffs, but just the season as a whole in their growth.
Yeah, I think getting to this point for Up Academy is a win for them and a win for Time Resume, but we'll see how long it is for Time Resume before that clock strikes midnight, because they are, like you mentioned, that Cinderella team, a team that I realistically going into this tournament and playoff didn't expect for them to even be in this position. So anything beyond this point for Time Resume, I think, is definitely just icing on the cake. And for Up Academy, like you mentioned, they have made some adjustments and they have made some progress, but the biggest thing for them is losing Jihoon, I think, has been really unfortunate for this team, as he is out due to sickness, and they just can't play the composition that they're best at as well as they can when Jihoon is in that lineup. So we'll have to see how that affects them in that series, but we got to talk about this first series between Team Chaser and Bilibili Gaming. These have been the rivals throughout the entirety of this season and of this year. I mean, it's always been these top two, Team Chaser versus Bilibili Gaming. Team Chaser, the Hunters, the Chengdu Hunters Academy team versus the Hangzhou Spark Academy team in Bilibili Gaming. So this matchup, these teams know each other so well inside and out, and we'll have to see how they go up against each other.
And again, there's that grudge match between the two of them since Team Chaser did take last season. So you want Bilibili to come out on top here as we're going to take a look at the roster. I mean, all of you at this point, for how we've been talking about it, seeing it repetitively over the course of both seasons and this year, that these individuals and their names should not be a new sight for you, and just the consistent emphasis. The one thing, though, I really do want to focus on is, you know, looking a little bit to, you know, Kaneki and how they were playing. Last time we were talking about, you know, their play, there was a little bit of lack lackluster coming out from the Tracer play, along with their, other variations as well. Those things needing to be refined, and just some of their synergy as a whole, where it was just really finding themselves either caught out in an uncomfortable position, or when they try to recover from fights, they just seem to be one step shy of their execution.
And I think the thing about Team Chaser that's interesting about them is that they kind of have this like raise the puppy style with Aprita, where they funnel a lot of resources into him, and Kaneki has been a little bit quiet on that other DPS, and I think this is a region where you have to have two DPS players who are incredibly good and incredibly talented and can handle the load, because if not, you end up struggling, and that's what makes Bilibili Gaming, as we'll move over to their roster relatively soon, that's what makes them really so good, is that you have Alpha Yi and you have Pineapple, two of probably the best DPS in this region, the best duo, I would say, hands down. And then look across the board with everyone else on Bilibili Gaming. Liga, who was an Overwatch League player, Contenders champion, Gauntlet champion, back with Team CC, 800, Hyunjae, Irony, all of these players are just so good and capable at doing the job that BLG needs them to do, and all of them can handle and hold their weight, which is something that sometimes I think Team Chaser struggles with.
I would agree with that, and especially from what we just saw in our previous matches with Bilibili, where there was some, some shenanigans. We even saw Sombra back cap C9 on the late map of Eichenwald, as I know that I'm probably bringing you flashbacks and PTSD from that moment. I think we both had a little bit of overzealous excitement when it came to that, and that's an understatement. But, moving into today, again, it is just being able to play with a level head. These individuals have truly proven themselves to be such a competitive team, and that is why they come in as the favorites. Their ability, just as a well-rounded squad, their foundation at the base of the wall, they are just a force to be reckoned with, as we're going to be entering onto this map of Oasis first, Kenobi.
Oasis is going to be our first map for both of these teams. This usually tells me that we're probably going to be seeing a lot of variation, because, you have University, where a lot of teams play that rush style of composition. Then you go over to some of these other maps like Gardens, where you do have, or City Center, where you do have that ability to play more of the dive looks. So we'll see what both of these teams opt for as we go into our map. But Rich, I mean, again, this is a grudge match between these two teams. This is the rivalry of Chinese contenders. You see Bilibili Gaming, I mean, obviously, when we look at all these like little lower thirds with the win records, it's going to be Bilibili having most likely wins by like on all of them. Like they don't have a losing map record, I don't think, except like Volskaya, which is the one that they struggle a bit with. But 6-0 right here on Oasis. Team Chaser 1 and 2. As we start things off here, and Bilibili Gaming opting, it looks like, for more of the ball-centric composition, where Team Chaser going to be bringing out that Winston. So the thing that the Winston does is you're going to be able to take a lot of space and hold that space, because realistically with Hammond, you're not allowed to do that. So expect Team Chaser to kind of move around like this and take out Pineapple very early.
That flashbang easily allows the early advantage onto Pineapple. Now they converge onto Alpha Yu, has to fall back immediately and gets the recall, managing to still get situated to come back into this fight, peppering in a lot of damage onto the Wrecking Ball, forcing 800 into a very, very difficult position. Can't even get the health back. So there's some great action from Kaneki, which we talked about, seeing if they can elevate themselves going into this, with Alpha E getting a pick though onto Riven. That's going to shut down one of the tank lines, leaving X-Ray a little bit alone and caught out, especially with that Discord being tossed out from Irony from Bilibili.
Yeah, but the point did flip. Langston gets taken down, though. That's some healing that's lost here for Team Chaser. Luckily, they still have the Ana in their back pocket to kind of keep that healing up. So you see the Tracers dueling. Alpha getting extremely low here. Gets taken out by Kaneki in the 1v1.
That's beautiful play. Going to prevent the Pulse from getting any value here. But Kaneki, unfortunately, finding definite challenge with Liga coming in on that Diva play as the Aprita rotates around, gets the flashbang, overwhelmed by Liga. Again, Liga's just really flying around this control map to give value for Bilibili, but Team Chaser's actually still holding their own here.
They still are ticking up that percentage, and we know Liga to be this really capable flex tank player, and we see them basically everywhere right now on the map, but it still isn't enough to handle Team Chaser's ability to just take that space and hold it. And Bilibili Gaming now coming back in. They have ultimates to work with. That EMP going to be the big one.
LPE looking to try and get the revenge onto Kaneki, who brought them down last time. Chasing down quickly is going to recall and go for that health pad to get back into this. Now again with the EMP also online for Pineapple. That's a very large win condition to try and swap into this, but 800 gets an early takedown onto a Preda. They've got the numbers advantage. They're going to try and see if they can equalize from the reverse side of Team Chaser, but they're losing members one after another slower than I think they would have liked to see on Bilibili, because Bilibili can't really switch this over just yet. They're still under contention with a sliver left.
And we're going to have this grab available to them, and they actually know now with the hack that the grab is there, but the nano boost comes in, and that's going to be so much damage from Rimmon just pumping it out. I mean, you love to see a Zarya with 100 charge get a nano like that, has the Graviton Surge in their back pocket for this next fight. And Bilibili Gaming looking a bit shaky here on this first map. It hasn't looked like the same coordinated, just macro style of Bilibili Gaming that we've seen so far. It's been a bit disjointed. They have a Transcendence to work with here. Oh, Pineapple almost gets taken out. Has to be so careful of a Prida.
Honestly, Langsa with that whip shot came in and actually saved Pineapple from getting taken down, but you actually got Riven going down in the midst of the minefield with Keo as well. Bilibili has the final opportunity to switch this back over to gain some percentage. There is 800 eliminated, but that's the only advantage you're going to have Team Chaser gain, is now you've got Bilibili climbing back from the 0% to try and compete against the 99.
Alpha E has been a little bit muted this entire map so far, and it's not due to his fault. He's playing totally fine, but Kaneki has done such a good job checking him, as well as Linksa, and Aprita specifically has not let Pineapple really get into these backlines for free. Always there with the flashbang when needed. The Team Chaser coming back in. Kaneki has the pulse bomb ready. Here comes 800 with an engagement.
Yep, nice pile drive onto Riven. Great support from Keo and Langsa to keep them topped off, but with the attention to Riven, X-Ray goes down. Kaneki tries to still give some assistance into the back line to cause harassment, so there's a momentum shift forward for Team Chaser, and even Aprita looking up top to try and prevent this EMP from coming through. It does land onto 4. Riven can't survive, no protective barrier, and you're going to even have Pineapple collapse down from the high ground to give some extra damage necessary
big sleep
to switch that, but the sleep is huge onto Pineapple. Deadeye also removes the mech, so Liga has to play so passive and defensive to try and get some shots to enter back into the mech, but Bilibili just have to stay on this to try and get some percentage and scramble to the point with the Transcendence even forced.
The Transcendence is here, and it's actually doing a lot of healing, but Liga goes down. That means there's no tank, no diva for that sustainability. Irony is actually somehow in the backline. That's a little bit of mispositioning from that Bilibili Gaming player.
Now with X-Ray looking to wait for a re-engagement. Oh! That's an interesting place to spin to win on the inner circle of the dome. With its watching over now, you're going to have the overtime dwindle. You've got to get Bilibili back onto the point. Kaneki gets rid of Hyunjae, so they can't touch it, but there is a follow-up by Aprita. And also Alpha Yi in the back getting overwhelmed. Honestly, Kaneki has really been keeping Alpha Yi in check. That's the first time really that Alpha Yi is taking the advantage here and attempts to try and round the backside, but the numbers still continue to go in favor of Team Chaser. X-Ray playing hyper-aggressive now to pressing back onto the point to give some extra assistance so they can just secure this, because they've got 4-1, as it's really only Liga who's going to finally get shut down, and the overtime escapes and goes away.
Team Chaser coming in with a nice victory on this first stage of Oasis here, and I mean, realistically, Rich, that looked like it was in control for Team Chaser the entire time. There was that one time where Bilibili Gaming got control, but really got to give props to Kaneki and Aprita and Linksa. I think all three of them did a really good job of stopping the flankers from getting a lot of value, specifically Aprita with these flashbangs. You know, you saw at the start of the map even, as soon as Pineapple's going in, gets flashbang, gets taken out very early. That was something that we saw a lot of when Pineapple was trying to go in. There would always be someone there with a stun to stop them. And now we're going over to a different map of University, where we'll most likely see a lot more of this rush style of composition between both of these teams. The only difference is that Team Chaser is going to be opting, it looks like, for the Zarya instead of the Sigma, so they don't have that second shield, and they actually don't have that much spam. That's the other thing. Zarya takes a little bit of while to like get charged up and to do the same amount of damage. Bilibili Gaming had that damage off the bat with just the Sigma Spheres.
I mean, there's also just going to be this big focus for me between Alpha E and Kaneki once again. Both of these Mays trying to find the opportunity of getting the best walls to divide the team, to get early advantage. Pineapple has been divided, but there's the counter wall coming through, but with the Symmetra play just a little bit more so in favor of Pineapple, and Alpha E getting some great icicles, that's going to be Bilibili taking this quite quickly.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing about Team Chaser's composition here is that with the Zarya, you don't realistically have a way to follow up unless you are just doing straight up damage to any of these walls that are happening. If you had like something like a Sigma where you can rock, or a Diva that you can just boost onto it. So it hurt Team Chaser a little bit in that fight, and Bilibili has control now. They're coming in with Alpha Yi about to have this Blizzard as well. Kaneki might be able to match it in this next fight, but Alpha Yi has it way sooner, and he'll probably use it to it here.
You can just see again with the lack of... Oh, nice actually early boop onto Kaneki here. That's going to give huge agency to Bilibili to play aggressive, and especially with the utility coming out from Hyunjae, they're just going to force him completely back to their spawn.
I mean, great use of utility. They're using the boop and then using the wall to win a fight without using ultimates. That's the best case scenario in compositions like that, when you can continue to just tick up that percentage without using your big key ultimates. And Alpha Yi still holding on to this Blizzard. And here comes the teleporter in. Oh, 800 through the Ant Matrix. That's it. It's over.
Yep. Double fire strike plus the charge. That was beautifully timed and coordinated, and you're just going to see Bilibili saying, all right, we lost this first round, but my goodness, are we coming back with a vengeance.
Bilibili Gaming seem to have such a great understanding of when Team Chaser is going to aggress onto them, even when the TPs are coming in, just using that Ant Matrix timed perfectly along with the Fire Strike from 800. And again, it's just a single ultimate used to win a fight. They don't use anything else. They keep their key ultimates that they're going to need for this next fight here.
An engagement favoring Team Chaser needs to come swiftly at 74%. You've got the photon barrier dividing the segment of the room, but you also have the wall trying to give some harassment and prevention of moving into a more favorable position as Team Chaser looking to find an opportunity with a grab, and the Blizzard coordinating both as a return Blizzard comes out by Alpha Yi just seconds later. That immortality field's not going to help any longer as there's attention to detail by Liga to get rid of it, and the pickup still come through. 92% and climbing. Bilibili Gaming had completely deleted all of Team Chaser, and they're not even going to be able to touch.
I mean, that was convincing from Bilibili Gaming, and also so well played from them, using all their ultimates effectively, waiting for the Gravitic Flux from Liga to throw everyone up into the air, then bring them back down, nicely layered on top of a Blizzard, so that way even if the Ant Matrix, or if the Immortality Field comes out, it can just be taken out because everyone's frozen, and then you follow it up from there. So Bilibili Gaming looking good on the second map that we saw, but now we go over to Guardians, and this is always a bit scary, because whenever you take Bilibili Gaming to a map where they can play Echo, usually means that they have a very good chance of winning, because Alpha Yi is a carry potential player on this hero. I haven't seen many Echoes really be able to, I mean, even hit scans. Like, I haven't been seeing anyone be able to neutralize Alpha Yi when he's on this Echo, and we'll see if Team Chaser can do it.
There's no way to really stunt how precise Alpha Yi is on this Echo, and I mean, the percentage of win rate with it is so significantly high. And now attempting to drop a little bit low, still being very cognizant of it, and again, really playing on their own. They don't even have to worry about having the pocket heal from the Mercy, just playing near the health pack, looking for those low health targets, finds the communication with Pineapple down underneath, so Ribbon's eliminated, and Bilibili, even though just losing Hyunjae, Irony goes down. That's a great pickup here from Kaneki, getting both supports.
Love this decision from Team Chaser to counter-engage, and Kaneki has actually been going bonkers right now. Pineapple is the only one left alive, but that counter-engage so smart from Team Chaser. They see that all the tanks are not with the rest of the team, and they dive onto the squishies. They take them out. Kaneki has a really good 3K on that Tracer, and it's Team Chaser who have control of the point when it looked like Bilibili Gaming had everything to play for in that first fight. Now Bilibili Gaming has to come back into this fight with an engagement in terms of ultimates. They have a pulse bomb close, but that's about it.
Gonna have to draw back a little bit. Look at the harassment coming through by Kaneki in the back line, just constantly making Bilibili feel uncomfortable. Bionade onto 800, so cannot seem to find that advantage with the pile drive and look for those combinations for a follow-through by Pineapple or Alpha Yi. Pineapple now needing to also fall back just because Kaneki's playing very aggressively, just slightly behind in the pulse bomb generation of the ultimate, but now finally has it to equalize. Aprita with the hit scan, also going to keep a very keen eye out for Alpha Yi as you've got a 1-for-1 exchange, but you've lost 800, which is much more valuable. Pineapple comes through to take the advantage, so Bilibili rightfully should be able to focus fire the rest and be able to take this back.
I mean, it feels like we're in a duel versus Tracers. Who can do something better than the other? And it feels like this time it's Pineapple who gets the better edge, as Team Chaser will take it down away from about 55% for them, and Bilibili will start ticking up on their own right now. Team Chaser coming back into this, though, have something to work with in terms of just the ability to get onto this high ground where you can use that Winston to try and boop them off and kind of play a lot of, just basically disrupt Bilibili Gaming's holdings here.
Dive comes through up top. Nice shield again to keep X-Ray as alive as long as possible with the Primal Rage. Looking to try and knock off Lika and can't seem to juggle him off the edge. 800 forces out the minefields. X-Ray has
Irony,
to go for
though.
the Mega underneath. Yep, Irony being eliminated is huge, especially because they have the Transcendence online. Hyunjae holds on to the rally for now, since it is quite a sketchy fight for Bilibili. They're going to have to hold on to it, bring it into the next fight, and this is going to go back over to Team Chaser.
Oh, and Alpha, you can't really get anything done with this Primal Rage. I mean, you get some value with Disruption, and 800's actually the one who's coming in clutch right now. It actually looks like Bilibili is turning this somehow, some way.
Yeah, and they're also going to take down Alpha U, which again, significant pickup here. They've got the grab, attempting to try and do damage onto 800 since they are spinning in the center. Grab's going to go immediately onto it, but Riven goes down. Pineapple was able to find the outside position before getting pulled into the grab to take it down. And now, with that 55% attempted to be swapped over, Bilibili denies it and actually is going to keep this despite Irony and the support's focus from Team Chaser.
Oh, this fight is so scrappy going back and forth, but it seems like it's favoring Team Chaser in these scrappy fights, especially with the Nano. I think they'll clean it up. And Kaneki, we talked about how they were having a little bit of a quiet season so far. This map in particular has been doing such a stellar job of just being a pest, being a mosquito in that backline, taking down backline members, dueling with Pineapple, whatever they need to do. Kaneki is right there, and that's not something we've seen out of this player in quite a while.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, major props, because we've talked so much about Pineapple and their Tracer play and just their hit scan as well. Overall, as a combination with this composition, and now we're going to see this Nike backline position once again trying to force Alpha E into a difficult position. Goes for Irony and Hyunjae as well. Minefield comes out for two, with Alpha E rotating in with the focusing beam onto the supports. Both are eliminated. Bilibili will take this back, and they honestly need to hold strong here to try and prevent a retake, because then it should be Team Chasers if they cycle this correctly.
Yeah, they just want to cycle this all the way to 96%. That's basically one-fight territory, but it's one-fight territory for both of these teams right now, with Bilibili Gaming holding this point. Pulse Bomb ready for Pineapple, as well as a duplicate coming from Alfie. Those are two incredibly impactful ultimates, and Team Chaser don't really have anything. Kaneki will get the Pulse Bomb, but Pineapple in the backline looking for one of the supports.
Ooh, with the initial fire rate onto the back line, it gives away the positioning, but does look to get back into this, attempting to try and chase down
Irony's
the
dead.
ball play. And with Irony down, this is a lot on the shoulders of Hyunjae. Team Chaser has a prime opportunity. Kaneki's eliminated, so it's a 5 versus 5, but still two supports in favor of Team Chaser. If those supports continue to stay alive and maintain the throughput of this fight, it should allow them to get back into this. Aprita goes from a side angle with the dead. I can't seem to find the pickup onto the head that's necessary, but still looking to try and find that pick onto Alpha Yi up top with Pineapple Res. Attempting to try and dash back into this with the grab
Big
coming
grab.
out. They might be able to get back into this with a Pulse Bomb. Gonna not be able to combine with that grab, but still has some decent value if a stick can land. Still 4% away. Riven with the grab now, attempting to use it onto 800 to lock him down to prevent their escape. No spin to win here with such a high level of energy, just peeking around that balcony to hopefully get it, but that leaves you vulnerable to get overwhelmed by Alpha Yi with the focusing beam and the assisted damage. And this is just a long, drawn-out fight, and it's actually going to be Bilibili Gaming managing to sustain a position on this, and you've got Team Chaser unfortunately jettisoning too far away from its control.
It's a C9.
I know. I tried to use lucrative creative words to not get to that point.
Man,
so
that was
I said 4.
so...
So for all those out there right now, I said that he asked me, Kenobi asked me, how many are we getting today? And I said 4. So
yeah, that was...
I mean, I'm already a quarter of the way there.
Yeah, that was a bit spooky at the end of that one. Team Chaser, unfortunately, aren't able to touch that point, and it's going to be Bilibili Gaming winning that first map. It feels like every time here we have a C9 on the broadcast. But, I mean, granted, this is, like, looking pretty close between both of these teams. It's also looking like they are feeling each other out, because this hasn't been the best Team Chaser or the best Bilibili Gaming I've ever seen. It feels like they're both, like, really nervous. That's what it feels like to me. There are some jitters here, because this is not the clean play that I've seen from Bilibili Gaming, nor is it the clean play that I expect from Team Chaser in a lot of these instances. So we'll see how this progresses throughout the rest of the series, because it feels like, again, some sort of jitters here, or just like feeling each other out, because it's been a little bit since these teams have played each other realistically, because Team Chaser didn't get to a position to play them, because in the previous rounds they lost and were like going up against Up Academy and things like that, and Bilibili Gaming kind of just had a free win, I don't want to say, but it basically was with them playing in the second split. So it feels like, again, Teams feeling each other out. It is control. It is brawly, but Bilibili Gaming up 1-0.
It's like when you go to a putt-putt land and you got 18 holes, and it's the first few that you're like, I'm just going to get on par, just so I'm, like, at where I should be, as I feel it out through the rest of it to hopefully get, like, an eagle or whatever the other ones are.
So you called it putt-putt golf. It's just called mini golf. Like, we don't...
Whatever. That's what the name of the play. It's mini. You knew what I meant. All those out there in chat knew what I meant too. They're all thinking it. They know what they're envisioning it. They're envisioning the chicken and the lion and the loop-de-loop and all the other ones.
Yeah, the windmill. You forgot the windmill.
That was getting there. It's okay. It's all right. You know, but I mean, we all have a flashback to our childhood. Last broadcast, everybody realized that I'm a dinosaur. But as we are going to look to go into our next map, again, I'm really, really excited to see what this is going to show for us, the evolution of this team, because you are very correct. There is, I mean, I wouldn't want to say hesitation either, because it's not really the right word. It's just, it's just that slow momentum of just feeling out, like it's like you're letting the pot of water boil, and you just got to get there.
It's just a bit scrappy. It's a bit scrappy. I mean, it is control, and control kind of is indicative of playing like these like scrappy fights. So maybe when we go over to something like our next map of Volskaya, that is something that we can see change a little bit here. Volskaya, I think this is a really good pick by Team Chaser, because this is the map that BLG struggles with the most, I think, out of any assault map. I think they have like a pretty poor record. This might be the one map where they have a losing record on. We'll see in the lower third once we get into the map. But this is a good decision. I think this allows Aprita to play some of those long range hit scans. Like Ash. You can also put him on something longer range like a Hanzo. Kaneki has been performing very well on the Tracer. I would expect him to continue to stay on that pick. And for BLG, the thing that I worry about when I see them play this map, and the last time I've kind of reviewed them, was like they seem very rigid, right? They don't usually like to change up what they're running, and if they do, they change it up very late. And you can see they haven't actually won on this map throughout the season, so good decision and good job from the coach deciding to go here. Coach Yang Xiaolong, as you know, played last season as the Sombra specialist, as like of all things, and,
right?
Making some good decisions from the coaching chair here.
And as we take a look here, we're not going to hopefully see any environmental wrecking ball mishaps.
Why are you even bringing it up?
It's
like,
because it's because I have to like kind of.
And they're on defense.
I gotta get you riled up. I know, right? I just gotta get you riled up. I have to check the pulse every now and again for you, just to give a little bit of. I'm just kidding. But as we're getting into this, we're gonna be able to see. Yes, this map is an uphill battle for Bilibili, and we've seen also a lot of discussion when it came into teams picking maps that they don't particularly play either well on, to potentially big brains for counter picks when it comes to compositions. But going into this, at this point, Bilibili unfortunately loses a quick advantage here, with Aprita finding with that hit scan for the 76. Beautiful pile drive in this small corridor up the stairway, where Aprita is just cleaning up and looks for that's nuts. Aprita,
his brain is so large. His brain is just so large. I mean, this is the thing that I talked about as well. When Bilibili Gaming play Echo, there usually hasn't been a team that's been able to stifle the Echo. Aprita is one of those people, especially on the Soldier 76. Bilibili Gaming, Alpha E doesn't have a pocket here. Like, you can have Brigitte throw packs at it, but it's not consistent healing like a Mercy, and Aprita is going to take advantage. Alpha E has to play this incredibly carefully and incredibly slowly.
You can see already aggression up top, trying to see if they can get high ground position with 800, but it's going to be easily jettisoned off, with X-Ray getting a nice boost back. Now having to flee, Sticky Bombs get quite a bit of damage onto that shield, slightly into the health bar, so there's some percentage gain, but Alpha E is definitely way behind here in this ultimate advantage, where you can already see Kaneki and Aprita holding on to their ultimates and looking to see if they can find value. Discord Orb comes out onto Kodomo from Kyo, but can't seem to keep it on it. 800 now is the prime focus, but X-Ray actually gets a quick double here, taking once again this defensive advantage, and I am really impressed by Team Chaser with how they're continuing to shut down Bilibili, and this really isn't Bilibili's strength, as you can see it.
Yeah, and I'm also, Kodomo does take out Lynxus, so that's some healing that's going to be, actually a lot of healing is going to be lost, and Alpha E is here with the Brigitte. This is a scary position for Team Chaser to be in. They might have thrown this one, Rich.
Yeah, and Alpha E's going to take full advantage of it. Both supports are sitting close together. Now going to get topped up, has the duplicate, getting a Sticky Bombs onto the support play, but there is a great response from Aprita. Again, keeping Alpha E in check and constantly trying to make it uncomfortable, but with 1 minute and 45 seconds, attempting to get this first tick. That's the opportunity, since it is a lengthier respawn for Team Chaser. closer, but they've still got to somehow get back to this to try and compete. But they might actually just have to let this go.
I mean, again, it just feels so scrappy from both of these teams, and they're committing to fights, like going in and trying to make these hero plays as Bilibili Gaming. I mean, have the ultimates if they want to continue. That's an ego dupe if I've ever seen one from Alpha E right there.
Yeah, no, definitely a little on edge there. Now going to get the tactical visor, chasing down Keo. X-Ray is just going to look for a reset. Lanks is all, I mean, go for it, Alpha E. We'll just let you have that one.
I mean, it's an ego dupe, but it works. I mean,
it works, yeah.
Really well for Bilibili Gaming, and now they can try and snowball this right here. They have a lot of positioning to work with. EMP is going to be ready and available for Pineapple here, but here comes the soldier.
Britta countering, getting some nice assistance by Lanksa with that rally, as you've got the primal range overhead by 800, jumping high in the sky, trying to find a position to give some real harassment, but not gaining nearly as much value as I think it could have, as Kodomo tosses it into the back line. Great responsiveness by Keo, but Lanksa actually is eliminated inside of the Transcendence and does not get enough healing to survive through the amount of damage. Now, in the back, Keo has to draw back. This is 2 ticks. The third is close to completion.
Oh, what a sweep.
That's just instantly easy, just snowball here, stacking ultimate after ultimate, despite having the supports really give a lot of agency for a potential recovery. This respawn advantage, even though it's in favor of Team Chaser, Bilibili just cleaned this up.
Yeah, they're getting the kills that they need, and they should be able to take this over at any moment as Kodomo gets stuck, but it's not going to matter. And Bilibili Gaming convincing here on the second map of Volskaya, which is not something I say too often, because remember, they haven't won on this map ever throughout the season. So Bilibili Gaming looking like they've gone to the drawing board and made a lot of good decisions in terms of how to play this map. And I think specifically who had a really good performance in that last fight was Pineapple. Pineapple does the smart thing where he just like beams someone down with headshots in trance because he can kind of out damage the Transcendence healing, waits for the Transcendence to like slow down, and then EMPs. Extremely patient with that.
And as we take the swap of sides now, again, we have Bilibili on the defense. I mean, the fact that they've completed with a decent amount of time does speak volumes for them. I mean, we've had a lot of trouble going into this with their pre-existing history, not able to claim the victory. You've done some, review of it as well. And with us taking a look at it and going into now with Pineapple on this Ashe, that is something to be extremely scared of. Pineapple with this Ashe on Volskaya Industry can just be on a tear if left uncontested. So there's going to be a lot riding on the shoulders of X-Ray coming out with this dive, and Kaneki as well, to prevent that free sight line.
And I wonder what Aprita is going to do here, if they're going to stick to the Cowboy, if they're going to swap it up. Because I think here, the thing that Pineapple's going to have over Team Chasers, that Pineapple will have a range advantage over their over their DPS. Now, the thing is about Team Chasers composition is that you can take space really effectively with this composition, and you can knock Pineapple off of this area with the double bubble composition. You throw the Winston up, give him the bubble, he bubbles himself, and that is just your spot right now, and you can kind of move Pineapple around the map a little bit so he's not just getting free sight lines. As Kaneki has to use recall extremely early here, but nothing's really going to be happening after that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there wasn't a stay near that to try and see if they could follow up onto it, because for how long they were there, they weren't going to be able to escape. But Alpha E now playing hyper aggressive on the outside, looking to collapse onto the early advantage that Bilibili has already had. And that was just a great early initial fight, 25 seconds off the clock, and, just continuing to take one fight after another.
And just keep it going, 800 here, just seeing what they can get as Dynamites are coming in fast from Pineapple here. Alpha E way ahead of Kaneki in terms of that ultimate charge. That pulse bomb could be something extremely hard to deal with in this next fight.
Kaneki is still getting a lot of damage onto 800, though, attempting to close the gap to get it back online. 1-for-1 trade, but with X-Ray down, that's a big challenge here for Riven to survive through. The supports are pumping so much resource into it, but can't seem to outlast Kaneki, attempting to try and turn this fight on a dime right now, getting a double and picking up assistance with Aprita onto 800. That's a great exchange in this, and now look to take it so they can snowball themselves to have a superior time bank.
Yeah, I mean, that was a complete DPS differential right there. Aprita actually takes out Pineapple extremely early in a matchup where he doesn't really have, like, an advantage at range. He just dinks him a couple of times, and Kaneki is able to get a nice stick and a couple damages done. It's going to be Team Chaser moving forward with 5.5 minutes in their time bank. They have a nano that they can throw into X-Ray, who can just take space away from Bilibili Gaming, farm up towards that primal, and then just continue the disruption over and over again as they go fighting.
Keo waiting for that dive to go in for the nano boost onto X-Ray. Going to see if they can get it. Nice couple of darts in the back as well. Going to be looking for it. Moving in now has the nano as the dive comes through. X-Ray attempting to find the supports, but getting whiplashed back. Can't really get close here to generate the Primal Rage. Finally gets a jump onto Kodomo, so has it and has to use it. With Aprita now finding Bob in the back, so you've at least removed the Omnic Butler, but there's still plenty to go around here for Bilibili as Irony forces out the Transcendence to top everybody up, to maintain, to make sure that the snowball doesn't continue by Team Chaser, and the fact that they've got the 6 versus 5 is an easy opportunity to draw them back and make them look for a regroup. But they still got a tick on this, to be honest, Kenobi.
They did get the tick, and Team Chaser, I think, has to start resetting here. There's no reason to keep these members still alive right here. And actually, it looks like Bilibili is just going to escort them all the way back to spawn the fast way. And Team Chaser, I think about for them what they did there, it was really good peel from Bilibili Gaming's support specifically, because you saw the whip shot coming in, you saw Kodomo actually get extremely low to that Winston who was nanoed, but the support healing from Hyunjae and from Irony keeps him alive, and he can stay in that fight a little bit longer, use that Gravitic Flux effectively, and they can snowball from there. Bilibili Gaming is X-Ray playing on a knife's edge right here and actually ends up going down, gets bitten by it. Alpha E goes down, but this shouldn't matter too much. Team Chaser realistically can't aggress without their Winston.
No, they can't. I mean, it doesn't matter how many darts you're going to see Kyo shoot out into the Winston, but they're actually going to look for an engagement here. They're not going to wait for X-Ray. Grab comes in with a nano onto Riven, and they've got to draw back. That's not going to gain any value.
I mean, the respawns are so much closer. Team Chaser committing really hard to this, too. They've used the rally. Bilibili, if Team Chaser doesn't win this fight, Bilibili is going to be gifted this one.
Yeah, they really will be. And, you know, got Aprita attempting to try and take this side angle. Nice flashbang and find onto Alpha Yi, but Pineapple, while that's happening, is getting some decent shots to slow down Team Chaser. And again, this is where we see a little bit of that disjointed play from Team Chaser, and they're taking fights I don't think that are as favorable, but they still want to go into this. They've almost kicked the second. They're going to have a Transcendence actually still going to hold on here.
Transcendent's going to be keeping them up and healthy, and Alpha E is in that backline now, and there's no one to stop him with Aprita and with the Brigitte down, and this should just be a cleanup for Bilibili Gaming. And again, it's just Team Chaser buying back into that fight when they really didn't need to, Rich. I mean, this is something that I think they did last season that was really hurtful in terms of them winning a lot of maps. And I mean, they do get some ultimates out of Bilibili Gaming. Like, Kodomo uses Gravitic Flux there. That's at least a silver lining, and you've also farmed up your own ultimates, but you've only got 2.5 minutes left as Alpha E gets way too over-aggressive there. Aprita's right there. It won't matter too much because the respawns are way closer anyways. So Team Chaser coming back into this, gonna have the nano, throw it onto X-Ray, try and get some damage to that backline done.
I mean, there's only a third of the time bank left. We're at 2 minutes right now with how well Bilibili has been holding on to this. Now we're going to look to see if they can get the bubble onto the Winston. X-Ray going in the back does get crown control. Instant discord as well as Riven gets hit with the nano boost once again from Kyo, who's pumping out a ton of healing.
That grab
missed. It doesn't even get Kodomo. Had the shield up to block a pick, and the supports are nowhere near. Team Chaser, they're nearing the second tick, but they're not doing it cleanly.
Oh my god, Aprita.
Okay, all right, Aprita, you are listening to me, and you're telling me to shut up, Rich Rad, and going in with the high noon, attempting to try and get some value into the corner, pumping out a lot of shots into 800, seeing if they can get the advantage with a flashbang, gonna be back online, but there's a recovery. Bilibili with the respawn advantage. 800 playing hyper-aggressive up front with Hyunjae giving assistance with Kodomo. It's another force back.
Yeah, I mean, while Aprita was like having in a moment right there by themselves, killing both of the DPS, no one else was helping him, and that kind of feels sometimes detrimental. I mean, Aprita should just die here. There's no reason for him to continue. Yeah. X-Ray, I mean, Team Chaser haven't really like reset at all this map, it feels like. I mean, this is a Primal Rage coming in, not getting any value whatsoever. You don't have your McCree, your carry potential player in Aprita is dead. Like, this has just been Team Chaser fumbling at the goal line with a lot of this ultimate rotation and macro play. It has not been clean whatsoever, and Bilibili is taking full advantage of it.
You're the wide receiver in the back, bouncing the ball to hope for the grab. I mean, honestly, it's not really been a clean execution once through this. Now when they're in final fight territory, 35 seconds. Kyo again leads with it. Stunned, X-Ray knocked back. Still a decent amount of Tesla cannon damage, but they're not going to get the Primal Rage. Nobody is close. The aggression comes through. Bilibili playing hyper forward once they see X-Ray come through. They know that Lanksa can mitigate that assistance in the back as best as possible, but Young Jay's going to do the same thing when X-Ray comes in. Numbers advantage once again for Bilibili. The Bionade lands on Nikadoma. Only 800's eliminated. You're trading multiple players for one on Bilibili. The time is dwindling. Everyone just completely collapsing on the pieces that remain. And this is the first win on Volskaya Industries, a weak point that we've said for Bilibili Gaming, coming out on top and doing so against Team Chaser.
Yeah, Team Chaser, I mean, really, they had like a pretty decent like first push there, but it just felt like they never really got their feet back under them when they were attacking second. Like, they continuously just didn't reset. They were using their ultimates in fights that were basically already lost. It just felt like there was a cacophony of errors for Team Chaser in terms of just their macro play, but full credit to Bilibili Gaming. I mean, it felt like every single time Nano was up, it was being thrown onto 800. They were going into the back line, and the supports for Bilibili did such a phenomenal job of peeling off that Winston and not letting him get value. And that, I think, really helped Team Chase or Bilibili Gaming win this map, a map that they struggled with so much in the previous times.
I mean, and this is very telling to what we commented on earlier on day one, where when it was Up Academy versus Team Chaser, that with how close it was and the way that they were playing, they really have to step it up. And I would honestly say the first control map was definitely one that I think was a little bit more close between the two. But as you also mentioned, it's because Bilibili themselves was not playing, I think, to their peak. They also felt a little scatterbrained or discombobulated or had that lack of refinement. But now going into Volskaya, Bilibili has been able to pull together in this map that they are not very strong on, and Team Chaser has still been left by the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, this one felt a lot better and a lot more convincing for Bilibili Gaming. It seems like they've warmed up a little bit after that first map of Control, but we still have, I mean, it is 2-0 Bilibili Gaming. We still have more maps to play. It's not over yet. This is looking a lot more close than I expected. I expected going into this that Bilibili Gaming would not wipe the floor with Team Chaser, but be a little bit more convincing than what it's been now. And Team Chaser at halftime really need to go talk with Coach Yang Xiaolong and fix some things, because that Volskaya map, that did not look good. And I think you gotta get in their ear a little bit and just be like, yo, you guys are like, you can't be continuing to do this macro mistakes that you've been doing.
Yeah, light sweeping versus a full wiping or cleaning of some sort. But with that being said, again, it's already 2 maps in. Bilibili has the advantage, but we're heading to a brief break, so don't go anywhere, my friends. And while we're away, definitely make sure that you're listening in to that lovely Contenders promotion there, because you want to make sure you're getting your May and Winston skins, and we'll be seeing you on the other side of that break.
Is your SR in the toilet? Are you losing every 1v1 you try to take? Do you deserve a higher rank, but your teammates just keep feeding? You aren't alone, but now you can ditch the defeat screen and learn from the best by subscribing to Overwatch Contenders. Watching Contenders matches works with your immune system to increase your gaming ability. It tackles the problem at the source and heightens your game sense. And ringing the bell is clinically proven to increase your ability to click on heads. So instead of waiting for Smurfs to carry you every game, learn from the best and become the carry yourself. Overwatch Contenders is not for everyone. Consult your doctor before pressing that subscribe button. Side effects may include carry performances, increased levels of copium, higher risk of C9ing, throwing for content, increased reaction times, and back problems when carrying the weight of your team. It's time you took control of your SR. Ask your doctor about subscribing to Overwatch Contenders today.
Greetings, friends! We return for the rest of this first series, as we've already managed to see Bilibili take a 2-0 lead, especially on a map that was not favored for them. It's gonna really be all down to Team Chaser being able to refine and pull themselves together and definitely get some hard-earned communication from their coach to say, all right, friends, pull it together.
Get the Capri Sun and apple slices, as you know, not the
it's
frozen Capri Sun like you or orange slices, yeah. Not that frozen Capri thing that you talk about, because I think that's just a crime against nature. Anyway,
amazing.
Though, it's
anyway. Seriously,
Anyway.
in chat, you better agree that the frozen Capri Suns is better. Here we go. Pull one for frozen Capri Suns, or
no
two
one,
for no
I
frozen
guarantee
Capri
the thing is that no one's had it.
I am
That's
so
probably the
gonna
issue.
look back at the VOD and make sure that there is at least one in there, because
Okay,
there was
all right.
one person who understood the whole the toilet paper thing to the ceiling. There was one person
Okay.
in there that knew it, so
Wow.
I felt validated.
Okay,
but
great. Okay,
it's okay. I know. Anyways, as we
anyway.
take a look at
Anyway,
the
we've
next
kind
map.
of lost the plot a little bit here, but Blizzard World is where we're going, is our next map in the hybrid category, and this is, I mean, we've been talking up about like how it's been kind of like scrappy between both these teams, but let's not forget Bilibili Gaming's up 2-0, and this is only a this is only a first 2-3, so Blizzard World is the map where if Team Chaser really want to start coming back and start putting their foot down, this is where it has to start here, and I think this is a decent idea because you give the ability for a Prita to play a lot of different hit scans. You can put them on the McCree, put them on the Ash if you would like, but again, you're going into that position where Bilibili Gaming is also probably really good at this map as well.
Absolutely, and you know, with this first position on defense, they're really just looking to set the bar and be able to have that goal set for themselves, as we have again already a Team Chaser feeling confident on this one, having never lost. So maybe we'll see a possible swap for them as well. Bilibili never won in the previous one. They now have. They might just say to Team Chaser, you've won and now you've lost. But could go either way. But with the composition we've got here, again, Liga has been subbed in, rotating onto this for Bilibili, so they do have that instead of Kodomo. Gonna still reside on this Sigma to see if that can bring some value into this game.
Yeah, whenever I do see Liga, and it usually tells me they want to prefer to either go with the Diva look or the Sigma look. I mean, he can play everything because he's Liga and he's extremely talented at what he does, but I think that's usually the specialist area for Bilibili Gaming whenever they sub in League. It is to play the Sigma. As we see Team Chaser on the offense going to be running a ball composition themselves with the Zarya instead, so really trying to enable that ability to take that space, throw the Hamadin with that bubble, keep him alive a little bit longer.
Nice displacement from the high ground. Stun comes out on X-Ray as well, but a Prita goes down from Alpha Yi's hyper focus and looking to try and recover here, as there's still some damage being peppered to the back from Kaneki, but the chase ensues. The TVT continues. Alpha Yi almost gets the full clip here, but has to recall the reset while the rest stay towards that narrow choke point and now reside back on the high ground.
Yeah, really well played from Bilibili Gaming. They didn't get, scared about the engage coming in from X-Ray, and now they still have control of this high ground. Team Chaser have to reset and bowl back in.
Now Kaneki looking to see if they can get potential follow-up onto that. Doesn't seem to get Hyunjae quick enough, and now going to look for a reposition once again. Drawing back Bilibili. They're taking quite a bit of damage here. A lot's going to be needed from both Hyunjae and Irony to sustain. They finally get the few seconds necessary to recover, but Alpha is just still on a tear right now, finding so much value, getting the angles. The accretion comes through, so that's 2 down, 3 in total, and that's got to be a reset for Team Chaser.
Team Chaser, though, still here, still trying to fight, but with the Prita going down, that should be the fight over right now, and Team Chaser have been playing, it feels like they're playing this a little bit slow, and they've been doing a decent job, like, with these engages as Kaneki gets taken down. That's just, again, please, Team Chaser, just reset. Like, you don't need to continue to poke out against players like this. They will punish you for it, with whether it's Irony or whether it's Pineapple, so Team Chaser, their time bank has been whittled down to about 2 minutes. Again, have some ultimates to work with coming into this. They're having Transcendence, and oh, that was very close to Riven dying right there. Need to heal him up a bit before the engage comes in.
Don't play like Volskaya maps past, my friends. Just don't. Let's not revisit the past, as there's 1 minute and 50 seconds to go, and honestly, this time remaining is going to be such a challenge for Team Chaser. They've really got to find an opportunity, either with an early pulse bomb that can come through, or maybe a very decent minefield to separate and divide this team from Bilibili defensively. But 800's now going to lead with theirs first to prevent anybody from pressing onto the point, as Kaneki goes once again in for the back line. Alfie tries to survive, but Aprita does manage to get rid of Irony. Still looking for some shots through that narrow space between the two columns, as that's going to be now 800 having to fall back and just abandon the rally generated because there's no worth the risk to stick around in it, and Team Chaser's actually finding value here.
That pick on the Irony was so huge. That means the Transcendence isn't there to heal the rest of the team, but it will be coming back in. Do Bilibili Gaming want to recontest this without their Hammond? That is the key question. It looks like they aren't going to be able to do so with Liga going down.
Oh yeah, that's you saw Liga take a few steps forward and then take a whole jump back to respawn. And now with 3 minutes and 20 seconds, Kaneki gets a couple of great pickups as well, trying to snowball this, just getting as much advantage as possible so they can take the high ground as this payload's going to start moving through that archway.
Oh, and Irony dies again. I mean, doesn't use the Transcendence, but still has it from that previous fight, which basically won the fight for Team Chaser in that scenario. Losing the Zenyatta Transcendence loses you so much healing that it's basically impossible to match the one coming out from Team Chaser, and Team Chaser now moving forward, but Bilibili Gaming does have control of this high ground for the moment. The card is still pushing.
With that card still pushing, nice power drive down below to try and give some harassment. As a Flux comes through, Liga gets an early advantage onto Riven. The Transcendence comes through, but it's just seconds too late here from Keo to keep Riven alive. And that's going to be a loss, and they've got to bail out of this.
You have to. Alpha E goes down, though, and 800 goes down as well. It's probably at the same time moving together, and this is actually a moment where Team Chaser, they don't have necessarily respawn advantage, but they can get members onto this cart and continuously just push it forward.
See some harassment in the back by X-Ray, but instantly going to be hyper-focused. That Discord lightning fast onto the Hammond to prevent any sort of escape. And now with this catwalk still being maintained by Bilibili, Team Chaser attempting to try and move this payload further past the pylon terrace, but having a real hard time as the pulse bomb does get rid of Liga. So Kaneki opens up the doorway with Aprita taking this tactical visor up the stairs, looking for Hyunjae, gets it, attempting to get the second here of Irony across the way, but they do escape fast enough, so it's not going to be a full clear, but still a lot of value to push this further.
And this fight is just, you know, a little bit stale right now. It seems like it's going back and forth, and the respawns are going to be closer, though, for Bilibili Gaming. This Team Chaser look like they're going to throw Aprita onto this high ground, which I like because he can kind of hold it. He can't necessarily contest at long-range Pineapple, but he can put some pressure onto it.
And you can see now underneath, you've got Kaneki looking for a window. Aprita's just getting real hyper-focused by Alpha Yi, having to force so much defensively and needing to be very cognizant of where the supports are to give assistance. But with him sprinting around that turret, it's a real challenge for the assistance. Keo's just going to have to constantly put that Orb of Harmony onto him to get him relocated to that upper position. And Riven now down below, a little bit exploited since the supports are completely away. That's a chance to take advantage of, especially with the Discord. But now they reconvene towards the game room and find a chance to push towards this payload.
And this payload is so close, and here comes the minefields to zone members off.
And now maybe you're going to get some value. There is Langsa with the rally to give some extra armor, but it's not going to matter. Liga takes down X-Ray. The damage is so sufficient with the rally in return from Hyunjae to protect them and keep them fortified going into this. And you're going to have the Heroes Arcade be quite the exciting position, especially when you force out a Transcendence from Keo at 38 seconds, Kenobi.
They have to win this fight. I mean, there's no way if Team Chaser win this fight that they're going to be able to take another tick unless a miracle happens, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case at all here. Team Chaser committing to that fight. Luckily, they do get some key ultimates out of Bilibili Gaming. They get out the Gravitic Flux, they get out the Transcendence, meaning that they have an advantage with their own Gravitic Flux from Riven, but this Gravitic Flux has to be huge and hit Payter.
Yep. Hail Mary. That's what you got. You need to find some serious value. Kaneki goes in quickly just for some quick pepper damage onto Pineapple to let them know that they are here. As X-Ray's down below, nowhere near the supports to even get sightline. And with the low health values on both X-Ray, Aprita, well, actually even Kaneki attempting to try and get a pulse bomb, but with Aprita eliminated, Riven can't seem to find a Flux, doesn't eat. I think the just Flux only grabs one, but no, it actually just misses. Nobody's picked up by it. The overtime dwindles, and Team Chaser can't even posture close enough to that payload to keep it in contention.
Yeah, I mean, they were just trying, caught between two mines. They're juggling the payload and trying to win the fight outright, but Riven there with the Gravitic Flux just does not hit anything. and Team Chaser, the ultimates that they had in terms of advantage just do not end up working out for them whatsoever. They had a Pulse Bomb, didn't work from Kaneki, who I think got a little bit greedy at the start of that fight, where he kind of triple blinks over to Pineapple and then has to recall immediately, knowing, like, I can't contest this guy because he's going to take my head off in a situation like that. So I think Team Chaser's biggest issue in that round was the fact that Pineapple, a lot of the time, was just left to his own devices on the high ground, and Pineapple is not someone who you can let do that.
And there's the marker, friends, just outside of the pylon terrace, where Bilibili is looking to make this a swift 3-0. No completions here for Team Chaser on the brain. As we look at the defensive position of Prita going on to the Ashe, and still going to have their mainly consistent composition here. Prita really being the only swap up from the 76 onto the Ashe. And I mean, I like this pickup. It's going to give a lot more opportunity to get the Bob onto the positioning. It's got the Dynamite for AoE damage, and just some great pick potential, and even the Coach Gun for mobility. And it's going to, you know, they got a lot of chips on the line here to try and keep this into another map.
I wonder if Bilibili Gaming is going to come out with this composition, though, because while Pineapple did do very well in the defense, playing Ashe on offense like this is a much harder task. I think you don't get the same amount of sightlines that you do on the defensive end, which is why Prita is going to be on Ashe. And it's not like Bilibili Gaming have a pocket either for Pineapple, so I think Prita has really a pretty good advantage right now in this hit scan 1v1, and we'll see what kind of value Pineapple can find on this Ashe on the offense.
Ooh, Bash comes through. You need to be super careful, 800, but actually getting quite overwhelmed. Kaneki has to force the recall just as well as Alpha Yi. Now as they drop down to the lower section, still 3 minutes and 25 seconds. The Discord Orb onto a Prita. They've got the focus that they're looking to bring down, but there's a lot of roundabout positioning. Great execution by 800 to get the land on a Prita, and that should start spelling disaster, especially if a Prita, or I mean Alpha Yi gets that opportunity to get some harassment in the back line, but the front line's actually still doing some work with Kaneki.
Something I've been actually incredibly impressed with is Team Chaser's ability to counter dive. Whenever the dive comes in, Team Chaser always is trying to find a counter dive and go into the backline themselves, specifically with Kaneki and X-Ray trying to take out the Zenyatta. They know the Zenyatta is incredibly important if these fights last long. You want to take out that Discord and want to take out that damage threat. They've been doing exactly that, and the fight flips in their favor, and they're still able to hold a little bit. But Bilibili Gaming do have positioning on this map right now.
With BLG attempting to get back into this on the attacking side. Looks for a potential pile drive. Actually, goes way around the backside of the shield. And just going to look for this high ground position to take down a Prita. It's very, very low, but nice recovery from the supports. Kyo getting that orb quickly on top to make sure that they do not get picked up. And 800 now getting rid of Kaneki is another opportunity. Reducing the harassment onto Hyunjae and Irony, but Pineapple's got to find some value here with the pickup. But again, you really commented on it. The sightlines are so narrow compared to playing on the defensive position. Langsa actually comes in to take down one of the supports a lot.
Langsa the raid boss.
I mean, my goodness, when you've got a brig play like that from Langsa, it's just going to be a field day.
All right, Langsa just hit his ult and just walked forward. Press W, M1, Brigitte. It felt like old school Brigitte right there when you were just immortal, basically, when Rally went off and completely turns the fight for Team Chaser. And this time bank has been dwindled down for Bilibili Gaming. And again, the Ashe, while it's been keeping up in terms of ult charge, hasn't really done anything. There hasn't been a ton of kill threat from Bilibili Gaming's composition. Yes, they're getting first picks, but beyond that, in the mid-fight, it's just not happening for them.
No, and with this now time continuing to dwindle, it's 2 fights worth if there is a quick re-engagement. Alpha Yi going down below. They've got, once again, the focus onto a Prita, but can't seem to get the follow-up necessary to completely eliminate them. Kaneki's down. Pineapple finds value with this Ashe play up top. Irony holding on to the Transcendence for as long as possible here. Attempted to now gain point presence. Bilibili has the advantage. Health bars are low, though Liga barely gets the kinetic grasp up to mitigate that incoming damage so that they can survive on the high ground with 800 moving in. Still survives quickly, even though they are bashed and has the Discord Orb falling back for the supports. Only a sliver remains. X-Ray in a detrimental position with the health value, and Kaneki actually comes in to get Liga. Are they going to turn it? The Pulse Bomb comes through, but the Transcendence is there. The spike damage is not enough with the Radius, and you've actually got Team Chaser coming in at the very brink with 2.7% to be completed, and they hold on to this.
Irony is still trying to make this happen, but ends up going down, and in that fight, Irony was just a second too late with that Transcendence to save Liga's life. If Liga continues to stay in that fight looks completely different, and Rich, look, 97.3%, they were so close, but now it's just desperation swaps to try and get this last final tick.
I mean, honestly, you're putting a lot of value onto Pineapple. Pineapple needs to find these shots and gets Bob on the point now. You have to have that extra player going into this, and Aprita's going to try and do the same, mirroring one another. Irony now again here with this on a play, attempting to try and see if the swap is going to make it valuable, but with 800 eliminated, you also have potentially to sleep in the back to try and give some survival tactics for the backline flank, but it's not really going to work. The numbers are dwindling. Bob comes onto the point, but the counter Bob as well from Aprita as the Dynamite manages to get Alpha Yi. Irony is eliminated. Hyunjae's the only one that remains, and Kyo comes out popping off with the volleys. You actually have Team Chaser on the defense here, keeping their win rate and not allowing them to take an L.
Team Chaser, I mean, that defense, they clutched it out somehow, some way at the very end. 93%. That was so close for Bilibili Gaming, but Bilibili Gaming, I mean, every single fight, it felt like they got the first pick, and then from there, couldn't cycle it into a fight win. They just got the first pick, and then they moved forward, sure, but they weren't able to secure kills that they needed to just win the fight outright. As you can see, Kaneki had himself a game on this Tracer in this map, as well as Aprita. I think the DPS, and Kaneki specifically, I mean, we're going to see a lot of highlights, but we talked about it at the start, Rich. Kaneki has been quiet a lot of the time. It's been mostly the Aprita show, and while Aprita has shown up in this series as well, because Aprita is just that good, Kaneki is finally starting to show that he can match a little bit, can take some of that pressure, and can have that carry potential themselves.
Yeah, the sleeping giant that has finally woken up, and this is honestly the best time, too, when you get towards the later portion of the playoffs. I mean, when you're going against Bilibili, you have to, as we're going to be finding ourselves entering into the next map of Havana. So we do have the opportunity to see all the chips sway into the other direction, because we could find ourselves in a reverse sweep. It's still a real hard task moving forward against Bilibili, but this is the first steps to do so, Kenobi.
And so thinking about Havana as a map and like how it's going to favor either team, I think this map actually is good for both teams, but I think it does have the ability to play long-range hit scan, and specifically you have Pineapple and Alpha Yi who can play Pineapple specifically versus Aprita. That matchup, I think, is very skill-based between those two, and I can't really tell you which one would be better depending on what composition they're going to be playing, because I think it could realistically go either way, and I think a lot of it will come down to the matchup of Kaneki versus Alpha Yi, because Alpha Yi has not had the performances that we know him to have. Usually he's the one who's getting the ball, he's the Kobe Bryant, give me the ball and I'll carry. It hasn't been like that this series, at least. It's been a little bit more scrappy, I think, and Alpha E doesn't really, I think, thrive in that setup. Alpha E thrives when they have space, when they're able to just dominate you from the air or from anywhere, and I think going into Havana, we'll see how that goes forward.
I mean, here's the thing, though, is you're benching Kobe Bryant right now, because Alpha E's actually going to be taken out, and they're subbing in October for this map of Havana. So with that substitution, that's also going to be throwing quite an interesting wrench into the mix here, because when you lose that star player, as you just mentioned, not to say that October is a bad DPS player, but is it going to live up to how Alpha E has played? And we've mentioned this times before, not only in this season, but in last, when Alpha E is not there, the chances of success do reduce, because it's just that stellar, all-around, surpassing type of gameplay. So with Bilibili on the attack first, with October filling that role of the Tracer, I'm really curious to see if Team Chaser can take the advantage of this to make it an even 2-2.
And I think for Bilibili Gaming, when I see this lineup, this means to me that they don't want to play long-range hit scan. I think a lot of the time they want to play more of this, actually, they might, actually. It seems like Pineapple's going to be going on to... I think this is actually just for spawn. They might hold it, but I think October won't be sticking onto Farah for incredibly long. Definitely not if we ever go to second, but I think this is a really good decision off the bat, because this is going to allow you to create so much space with this spam and take Team Chaser away from getting you full health.
Yeah, and honestly, just instantly see the responsiveness from it. Team Chaser has to corral inside of this smaller building to make sure that they are not just continuously getting free-fired on it. Honestly, October's still finding some great value. Has to use that rocket to displace away since there was some focus from the hit scan of Aprita in the back, but Aprita still goes down. The focus from both October and Pineapple putting him into a very uncomfortable position, and now you've got Keo left alone, a lone puppy in the back, just hoping for someone to give them a treat, finds nothing but soot in the back line with now a minute already off the clock. Bilibili takes the advantage and will be able to just break that defensive hold.
Yeah, and Bilibili Gaming, I mean, they're realistically, I think, Aprita caught a little bit out of position in a scenario where if you're going to try and contest a Pharah like that, you have to be absolutely sure you're going to hit those shots, or else October is a Pharah who is good enough who will just two-tap you in the sky. So Bilibili Gaming now moving forward. Here comes the Ant Matrix, though, to try and get some space.
Ooh, shots potentially going to try and counter. Pineapple up top. October still of elevated position. Gets another pick up here onto Riven after the DMAC. And I mean, honestly, right now, Bilibili coming out with this pharmacy composition and Pineapple on the 800 is really, really gaining value. And with both Liga and 800 looking to just stay near that payload, continuing to block the shielding, Aprita finally gets a counter pick onto October, and the Blizzard has to be committed.
This Blizzard actually is looking pretty decent, but there's a nice Dragons countering to zone all the members of Team Chaser off this cart. And I think it's only a matter of time here, Rich, before it's Bilibili Gaming who take this first point. Pineapple looking clean right now on this Hanzo, along with the rest of Bilibili Gaming, who will have a 4.5-minute time bank moving forward. And now I expect some swaps. I don't think the Pharah will stick here. Probably going to be going to the Tracer. You keep the tanks because those tank ultimates are really key in this next fight, but we could see some swaps down the line.
And honestly, you're going to see now Riven opting to go for the Sigma play here on the defensive position to see if they can try and get some crown control, potentially because October is now adjusting onto the Tracers. There is going to be some backline harass. Pineapple as well committing to the swap onto the McCree to get that extra hit scan and crown control as well. They do not want to allow any sort of backline engagement from Kaneki, who has been doing very well, and as you can see, gets a great early pickup again on the Liga.
Yeah, that was all X-Ray, though, who had a fantastic engagement into the pile driver, and then it was just Kaneki who secured that kill. Supercharger was actually committed for Bilibili Gaming here, and their health bars are so low at this moment. Aprita is on the flank right now.
Yeah, Aprita's just having the time of their life. Kaneki's also just shooting so much into the back of 800 that it's just uncomfortable in every regard.
And I think this has been something that actually Aprita has kind of grown as he's been a player in Chinese Contenders. He used to just be a very kind of vanilla hit scan player, you know, playing from just regular angles, but in this season at least, he's been doing a lot more flanking and catching a lot of teams off guard with his play, and I think it's really showing a lot of value, especially like we just saw there.
Ooh, almost gets the hack twice. Pineapple just finds themselves out of range with the dash as 800 looks for an... Oh, beautiful hack to shut down that opportunity for a pile drive. You see Aprita taking full advantage of it. With X-Ray down below, still continuing to get some decent shots underneath, and Kaneki slowly gonna look for an advantageous position to go in, but just decides to back out. And again, it's this really, really coordinated, just methodical play. Supports are vulnerable, they're left alone. Aprita and Kaneki flanking in the back, just collapsing. Even though, actually, okay, I was gonna say, maybe October and 800 switch this around, but this is still in favor of Team Chaser.
Yeah, I mean, it is scrappy. They do have a hacked health pack to work with here if they try to use it, and there is the Tracer to continuously, you know, chump and fight on cart, but I think Bilibili Gaming should wait for the rest of their team here. Potentially, you can have X-Ray, you know, 800 take a little bit of space away, but it looks like they will end up backing up, and coming into this next fight, I think Team Chaser have been doing a really good job specifically at dealing with 800's engages. We saw Aprita flashbanging every time 800 is going in here. We're seeing Bilibili Gaming on the engagement. That's a very far translocator. Riven eats the pulse.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're way far out to try and see if they can get back into this, and with it being eaten, as you said, with the pulse pump completely eliminating that opportunity, you're still going to have Team Chaser in the advantage. Aprita having trouble falling between that tiny crack, as there's a rally still held on to. Lanksa not ready to commit it into this because they're still finding the value. The Harmony Orb onto the Brig play, and you finally have Youngjae go down with the assistance of Aprita, attempting to survive through the front line, but can't do so long enough as an accretion lands, and X-Ray gets the bowling pin knocked over. That is October.
Hunjay is 100% going to want that one back. That rally was a desperation rally. It felt like a rally of hope there. And Team Chaser now are going to have an advantage in that regard for this next fight. However, the key thing for Bilibili Gaming here is that they do have this EMP from Pineapple, as you can see, looking in this backline, trying to find the supports.
Yep, you can just see Langsa swinging away, and oh my goodness, Aprita comes out as well in the back, nowhere in the EMP for a free Deadeye on those that collapse for the follow-through. What a stellar job here to counter.
Team Chaser played around that so well. Kyo beams Pineapple the second that EMP comes through, and Langsa with a perfectly timed rally. Even if the Sombra was still there, there was going to be a lot of leftover healing from that rally. So well played from Team Chaser at Bilibili Gaming, switching their comp a bit, bringing Pineapple onto that Cowboy to match Aprita in that 1v1. You can see Pineapple's looking around for someone to use that flashbang on.
But look at how late this decision's going to be. Now you're going to have a lot of these mines mitigated because of the Transcendence, because Irony used it, but you don't have it for this kind of recontention up front. Liga up top onto the canister and overtime procs. Thankfully here, Pineapple does get at least a shutdown with that pick from the McCree swap towards the end of it, but this is still a challenge for these last few meters.
And Aprita switching onto the legs to try and get a kill, but Irony beams him down. That's a right click and a half right there. And Bilibili Gaming, I think they probably got this. There can be attempted a recontest here from Team Chaser.
But it's not going to be favorable because of that beautiful pickup by Irony. A Transcendence comes out by Kyo to see if they can stabilize down below. It's really only Riven alone near the cart while all others reside overhead. You've got to have Langsa come to touch this, and everyone starts to trickle onto the point to contest. X-Ray does take down the assist with Aprita onto Pineapple, but there's still the numbers advantage. Team Chaser can't recover from this, and that's another checkpoint with 1:30 going into the home stretch.
Minute and 30, new life breathed into Bilibili Gaming with that cap, and look at the ultimates they have as well to work with moving forward. They have a minefield, Liga close towards this Gravitic Flux Pulse Bomb, and the Deadeye. I think at this point you have enough ultimates to kind of take space away from Team Chaser and just milk this clock for as much as it's worth. I mean, look at where Team Chaser is right now. They're not really in a position to contest, especially with X-Ray dueling it out with October and Kaneki right here.
From the outside, October just, again, constantly putting in damage. I mean, they've got the Pulse Bomb already, so they're looking to see if they can find some additional value. With the ultimate stacked up, 50 seconds to go. Kaneki and X-Ray playing super aggressive in the backline. Pulse Bomb's actually going to be tossed here by October as Pineapple gets a high ground positional advantage. Tries to get Kyo. There's the follow-through by Irony. And now you've got Bilibili continuing to leave space open for them to push across this bridgeway and find a last engagement.
30 seconds is all that's left. That means this will be the last engagement. Like you mentioned, Transcendence available for Irony, but not yet for Kyo. Team Chaser have their tank ultimates, though. And they most likely are going to have to use that Flux early, but here comes a nice engage from X-Ray.
Ooh, gets the pile drive just in time before going too close to the bridgeway, as you've got the Flux Transcendences there, hoping to mitigate through the fall. Minefield in conjunction. You've got X-Ray trying to block that pathway. Aprita comes out with a big shot onto October. Now looks for Irony, who is in the way back position. No one's there to keep it in contention. It is just Team Chaser halting at the doorway. And Bilibili now in a position to where they know exactly how far they need to halt this cart.
And I think one of the things about Bilibili Gaming there that kind of is indicative of like the small, like there's like a couple weaknesses that Bilibili Gaming have, but the biggest weakness is sometimes that they're very rigid in terms of their team compositions where they won't switch it in time. Like we saw how well it looked when it was on the McCree for Pineapple instead of the Sombra. And I think that was a switch that, I know it was like trying to farm EMP and EMP didn't work, but there was still, I think, a time where it would have been a little bit more beneficial, especially with the Aprita getting a lot of value on the McCree themselves, to switch that a little bit sooner, because then you would have had a chance to get a lot more time in your bank and potentially complete the map. I mean, this isn't a bad, completion by any means, but it could have been a little bit better.
I agree with you on every aspect of that. Even when I saw the swap come in and I said, it's basically just that real 20 seconds that you came out on the McCree. Like, I don't feel you should have committed that much time. And when it comes to time like that you're hoping to get that EMP to really change value, and when it comes up short, that is a big, loss. And with the swap of sides, you're going to have Pineapple once again coming out on this Sombra, paired up with October on the Tracer to see if that EMP can gain value this time around, and hoping that it can.
Interestingly enough, not going to be opting for a close hold from Team Chaser, which is something that I think a lot of teams should do in situations like this. Pineapple just going to try and duel with the Orisa on the point here, but not going to get too much done because Orisa can just hit Fortify and you do no damage and no headshots, because it's a really good ability, that Fortify, as you know, as an Orisa one trick yourself, Rich here. But the thing about this composition from Bilibili Gaming is that realistically, with where the card is right now, you're only going to get one fight. And with 800 going down, you are not going to take any space away from Team Chaser here. And Team Chaser might just walk this one in.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, honestly, if anybody pokes out, there's funneling of damage. And even if there is a recontest, you're going into Langsa, who's been stellar on this Brig play. You've got Kyo now onto the Baptiste, the Immortality Field. Aprita continues to find value and put October into an extremely uncomfortable position. 800 has re-entered into this combat, but still not being able to cause any harassment as this payload's about to reach its point.
I mean, the team Bilibili Gaming just have been so disjointed right now, but Aprita's doing such a good job of just making October's life miserable here. Oh, Immortality Field a little bit short, but the healing is enough. It's enough. It's enough.
It brings it into a more favorable position. There's the cleanup. Kyo and Kaneki just locking down those with that hit scan and just making sure that they've got 5 minutes going into this distillery. They are sitting pretty right now.
I mean, it didn't feel like really Bilibili Gaming did anything, right? They
I
lost
know.
just the one fight at the end, and they kind of just got ran over, realistically. I mean, they're going to have ultimates in this next fight to try and work with. EMP definitely going to be online here for Pineapple, and their tank ult should be there as well, but Team Chaser, I mean, they're definitely going to take a 5-minute time bank going into the distillery, no question.
I mean, is this really the compromise, though? You wait for the EMP to get online to try and shut down the momentum and just lock yourself in place? You dig your heels in? I mean, that's just such a hard challenge to do. Wow.
Big EMP.
Stack of ultimates. That is 5 players hit by the EMP. Riven goes down, but you still have Team Chaser able to hold on. They are not overrun. They are the ones who dug their heels in. Aprita's finally getting locked down. The Discord from Irony gives the extra assistance. Liga goes for the concussion, but it's not going to really get any sort of stun onto Kaneki, who tucks away into the side room as this fight still ensues, and Team Chaser in the long run are coming back in with a rally.
They also have respawn advantage by a lot here, due Team Chaser in this scenario. Bilibili Gaming have to try and get someone to come back to this card. Tank ultimate's still online for Team Chaser here, and October gets taken out by Kyo in the 1v1. That is something you never want to see, a BAP winning that against your Tracer.
I mean, Kyo's really been stepping up to from this support position more so than we've seen, but Pineapple finally gets Aprita on the counter to see if they can stop that harassment. Kaneki has the Dragon Strike, tossing it into the mix. Pineapple barely escapes it. The rally comes out by Hyunjin to keep the team alive, and with X-Ray Supercharger eliminated, that's going to prevent the extra damage, and X-Ray's also going to go down in tandem. Pineapple up top, still getting some decent shots from overhead. Riven tucked into a corner, attempts to get the accretion onto the Tracer play, but can't seem to land it, and Bilibili Gaming's going to come out with a hold again, but they still have 3 minutes to go.
Pineapple really showing his stuff, and October coming in back as well, I think really helped the team. Specifically now that Team Chaser has opted for more of the similar composition as Bilibili Gaming, they don't have that CC that I think actually Aprita had been getting a lot of value with on that Cowboy. They don't have that now, so Aprita really has to just try and win a lot of these ones-by-ones just by their mechanical value, which they can. Like, don't get me wrong, Aprita's the best Tracer we have, but I think that CC was really helping Team Chaser out a lot.
Yeah, and just putting Aprita into a very challenging position. Amplification Matrix now comes, Flux in the back, lands onto 3, almost gets the pickup. There's Pineapple getting the follow-through underneath as Lika gets knocked off the bridgeway. And you just got Aprita trying to stick near the cart, but Pineapple got a friggin' targeter on that bow to land those shots.
Yeah, Pineapple is maybe playing with hacks, it feels like right now, because they are not missing any shots here. I love what Bilibili Gaming has been doing, trying to control this high ground, but Pineapple maybe steps a little bit too far forward and gets taken out. That's a huge loss.
You can see Kaneki already trying to take that reposition up top. Great shielding, though, to come through by Liga to prevent any of the shots. Big Bomb in the back does get one, but trades out for their life, with Irony getting a recovery pick. Now with Team Chaser, Ooh, you're gonna have Dragon Strike just whiz over the top of their heads. And there's nobody really to compete against this. This is just gonna be Team Chaser getting this checkpoint.
Especially with the rally committed, it's going to be really hard for Bilibili Gaming to counter this, and the Gravitic Flux committed. That should be enough for Team Chaser to win this fight. Just a Lonely Pineapple and Tracer, I don't think have enough.
No.
That's going to be that. Oh, they're committing Trance to this,
what?
actually. Bilibili Gaming need to win this fight now. It's all or nothing here.
Dragon Strike's gonna come through the side. Immortality Field is there just on the outskirts of the payload, and you have Bilibili falling short. They were really going in big with that call to have Irony force the Transcendence.
I mean, that is a huge decision from Irony that could come back to bite Bilibili Gaming, because Team Chaser now have 2.5 minutes to complete this map. They're switching their composition a little bit over, opting to put Kyo on that Zenyatta to offer more damage output against Bilibili Gaming, especially in this long-range area. You can get a lot of nice right-clicks down on. As we see Team Chaser coming back into this next fight. Mines are available to zone, but Liga's got that Gravitic Flux, and it should be a free one because there's no Immortality Field now that there's no Baptiste left.
Now with the Flux, everyone just scrambles. It only gets one. The Kinetic Grasp is in to make sure that they can mitigate some
I don't think that was
nice
worth.
accretion, but I would agree entirely. There's no real value from it. That could have been so much more substantial if they held onto it just for moments longer.
Oh, Aprita.
On to Hyunjae. The shield will not keep you alive. And now you have Team Chaser getting these picks, staggering it out. Even though there's the respawn advantage, they need to... Oh. But Bilibili's actually going to come back with some decent retention in this.
I mean, Team Chaser still have the respawn advantage, though, and they can just continuously move this card. Even though Team Chaser have taken, or Bilibili have taken a lot of time away, it still is going to be Team Chaser moving forward right now. Look at only a minute left here, Rich, and with where the card is, you can get one fight for sure, maybe two, depending on how long it goes.
This is moving into the last opportunity for the
Oh,
reverse
what a
sweep up.
one play.
Britta gets the play. You've lost Irony. Hyunjae's actually stunned too. 800's gonna find the follow through with the grapple, and now Britta's going up top, attempting to find Pineapple. The challenge to contest against this is so low because you don't have anybody there to touch.
Wow.
Pineapple can't even get there, and Team Chaser make it an even 2 for 2 and find themselves in a position to actually reverse sweep this.
The reverse sweep is potentially here, Rich. I mean, Team Chaser in that last map, Aprita and Kaneki went absolutely bonkers. At the end there, Aprita, the presence of mind to know that the Zenyatta's alone, go up and just one-clip him. Irony was like 10% off of Transcendence. If that Transcendence is there, they can definitely hold with all the ultimates that were coming in from Team Chaser at the very end. But man, what a performance coming in from these two DPS, and I gotta say, I felt like I was missing some Alpha Yi in that match.
Yep, I would 100% concur. Just not having Alpha Yi there. I mean, especially when it came to the open spaces for the first and third point, you have the opportunity of bringing out an Echo or just having that Tracer play that is completely refined and well-known. I mean, there's just so much that could have been. But, you know, again, it's those decisions that they wanted to make going into this, and now they return to a control map, which, again, they did take previously, but that does not mean it's a guarantee because that was quite a close engagement between the two.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely close, and I think it could have gone either way. I mean, it ended in a C9 for Team Chaser, or for Bilibili Gaming, rather, as we will be going to a short break here, Rich, though, because we got to take some time, because this reverse sweep might actually be happening here.
So don't go anywhere, friends.
Hey, just what do you think you're doing, you scientist? Is this what our tax dollars are going to? Well, enough of your tomfoolery. We need you on the battlefield, so put down those beakers and suit up. That's more like it. Looking good for a couple of scientists. To suit up yourself, all you have to do is create your Battle.net account, link it to your YouTube account, and then tune in to our Contenders broadcast during October to earn May and Winston Contenders skins. After that, you too can harness the power of science to zap, freeze, and pummel your way to victory. Yes, pummel, like all scientists should. So get experimental and get watching Overwatch Contenders today.
Hello, friends, as we continue to find ourselves in a position of a reverse sweep. And Team Chaser has managed to pull through 2 maps and find themselves now on the 5th to try and rub it in the face of Bilibili. But we are going to have the swap coming back through where Alpha E is back here for the control map, Kenobi, and that's going to be, I think, a big defining factor of how this is going to shift possibly back in the favor of Bilibili.
Yeah, I think Alpha E coming back in makes a lot of sense, especially because October had some decent moments, but it wasn't the same amount of, I think, performances we usually see from Alpha E, which is interesting because I think they share a lot of the same hero pools. So
They do.
I think overall, like, having Alpha Yin is just something that I would prefer to always see for Bilibili Gaming, because he is their best player. I think he's the best DPS in Chinese contenders, and you feel the difference when he's not on this roster against a team like Team Chaser, who have some significantly good DPS in their own roster.
And going into this last and final map of Control, it will be Ilios. So with this one, there is a lot of skyboxes, elevated positioning. So whether or not we could say anything otherwise, Alpha Yi with this Echo play is just going to be very, very relevant.
Yeah, that's something that definitely I think we could see happening. I also think that he potentially brings out the Tracer as well. But the Tracer, to all the credit of like the Tracers on Team Chaser, whether it's Aprita, whether it has been Kaneki, they've both been performing very well and also have been just constantly checking the other Tracer, no matter who it is on the other team for Bilibili Gaming. So I wonder if that's going to continue in this matchup, the ability to hold the line against these really good DPS players from Bilibili Gaming, because we said the best way to beat Bilibili Gaming is to mute their DPS, and Team Chaser have been doing a pretty decent job. That's how they got to this map 5.
They're hitting the mute button real hard going into this, and it's been very significant. In is this actually what I think it's gonna be from Kaneki?
Ooh, the Echo
Coming
versus
out
Echo
with the
matchup.
Echo. Okay, all right, let's see how that goes. I mean, I'm interested to see what Kaneki's gonna do with this.
Alpha Yi's not going to be on the Echo themselves. They're actually going to be on the Tracer, so the dive potential is really, really strong as Irony takes out Aprita so early. Just right-clicks him, and that should be the fight over. That's a lot of DPS that's lost.
Yeah, you attempt to get the Mercy play. Alpha E continuing to follow up onto it. That's their pick onto Kaneki, so Alpha E says, "Hi, friend. I see you on the hero that I love to play, and I'm going to shut it down."
Yeah, Alpha Yi knows that hero inside and out. There is no way that you're going to be able to survive against him, even if he's on the Tracer. And Kaneki actually will just forego the Tracer, or the Echo altogether, and go back over to a Tracer of their own. Aprita's actually opting in for the McCree, again, giving you that CC that has actually been incredibly impactful against the Tracer, against the Sombra, and against the Hand.
Right now looking for the back line. Gets a little bit pressured here. Discord Orb instantly forces a retreat as Alpha E resides towards this control point, with Kaneki having to be super careful because of the Discord Orb. And, I mean, honestly, Aprita's now trying to find some sightlines into the doorways. Does find a Diva over top and has to be extremely careful. A little bit discombobulated here, but Team Chaser actually network around to find this one and take it.
And I think that was all started off by 800 getting absolutely obliterated early in that fight, got slept, also got antied and McCree flashbanged, and Team Chaser did the smart thing, just blowing him up. And when that Hammond isn't there, you have no ability to cause any disruption or hold any space. So Team Chaser just say, okay, thank you very much, we're going to take this point. But actually, Kaneki going down means that Bilibili can recontest.
Yeah, Alpha E's just going to continue to put a lot of pressure. EMP comes through, lands onto 3. That's going to be Riven instantly eliminated. Lynxa and X-Ray still survive, despite having a long-lasting reduction of ability use. And now with that pickup, that's going to be an opportunity for them to take it back again. Bilibili, 39.
Especially with X-Ray going down, that means that Bilibili Gaming will start continuously ticking up this point here. Team Chaser coming back in with some key ultimates. They have the Minefield. Also, Kaneki's going to have this Pulse Bomb relatively soon, but they have to really be careful of Irony, who's been hitting a lot of fantastic shots on anyone who's moving forward. Kaneki, as you can see, has to really be careful. He can't just go into the backline and take down Irony. He needs to be with someone else to do so.
Ooh, flashbang attempting to get the Sombra play from Pineapple, but finds the short end of that stick as a Transcendence aggressively comes through by Bilibili to force them back. And now, in retaliation, Lynxa, the rally, giving the armor to try and recontest as Kaneki pressures the point to see if they can swap it just under the noses of Bilibili, but can't seem to do so.
Bilibili Gaming still trying to contest onto this point. They have the percentage that they need ticking upward, and that's a Vergita off.
Yep, couldn't dash back on. Self-destruct is actually proc to the outside. Huge swap here. Team Chaser's going to take this instantly.
They will do so, and I would like to see Team Chaser hold on to these ultimates, especially that Graviton Surge. Don't want to throw it to the wayside right now. It's Bilibili Gaming coming back into this. They're not quite at that last fight territory win just yet, but they're at 87%, which basically is enough, especially if you come in here with this EMP. Kaneki just waiting in that back line. Does not want to get hit by this EMP. I think they've tracked it well enough.
Stealthy. Trying to be the rogue necessary with X-Ray alongside. Just holding on until the opportune moment as they both move towards the underside. Liga and 800 looking to get top back up. EMP actually comes out, only lands onto one, but it is instantly recovered from, and you're going to actually see this still being in favor now with the point presence from Team Chaser. A little bit of discombobulation from Bilibili re-entering this, but now they're going to come in like a swarm as you've got the grab locking down one. Pineapple gets the take down, and they'll swap it.
Swap it back up, and here, Bilibili Gaming so close to this win. Team Chase is going to try and recontest. They have one last shot at it. Alpha E playing with fire there, but gets the nice stick onto a Prita. That's the carry down.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy with Alpha Yi now rounding the outside. That's going to be a pickup here. 800 gets rid of X-Ray, so there's no more quick mobility outside of Riven attempting to get onto the point. It's just now sitting ducks that remain, and the overtime should dwindle rightfully in favor of Bilibili for them to take this first round, Kenobi.
Yeah, Bilibili looking good on this composition. Again, feels so much better with Alpha E in this lineup. You saw that stick at the very end, taking out a Prita, who has been a thorn in the side of Bilibili Gaming throughout this rivalry, actually. Not even just today, but forever. Prita has always been the one kind of stifling Bilibili Gaming whenever we've gotten to these moments in the playoffs. And as we go over to Ruins as our next map, I wonder if we see any long range coming in from Bilibili Gaming. Pineapple, we know, can play a lot of those long range hit scans. Prita going to be sticking on that Cowboy to try and offer, again, that CC to deal with these flankers. Also, wouldn't be shocked if we see Kaneki like switch over to something like a Torbjorn. I think that could be a decent pick, especially if Bilibili Gaming is going to be opting for this double flanking setup with the Hammond.
Yeah, I mean, Torbjorn can be such a nuisance for that backline, but Kaneki's not going to opt for something as unique of a play as that, and he's going to stick with the Tracer, going head-to-head against Alpha E, and again, this is the moment where you have to try and take this to bring it into a round 3. Team Chaser looking for an opportunity to get some early damage over by where the Mega Pack is. It has been expended so far since you do have Pineapple gaining that early hack onto it, and nice early takedown on both supports.
Yeah, really good aggression coming in from Team Chaser at the start, that they go directly after the supports and they clean them up. And Bilibili Gaming's composition, if you don't have supports, you're not moving anywhere, and that's going to be a first point capture coming in for Team Chaser, and they're going to start ticking up that percentage. Bilibili Gaming, the thing about their composition is you play it a little bit slow. You know, with Sombra, you have to play a little bit more on the slower side unless you find someone who's out of, you know, an area and can be easily dived upon.
I mean, and Team Chaser's being really cognizant of that, knowing how that playstyle is going to be great Bionate, again, to slow the momentum. Both supports being hit in the back. Bilibili cannot go in until they can find a better opportunity, with still a lot of harass by Kaneki to the side, attempting to get it. Irony actually takes down X-Ray with that great placement of the Discord, and that's now going to be numbers advantage for Bilibili trying to recontest down below, attempting to knock around Riven to see if they can eliminate the second tank, but X-Ray's back online. EMP comes through. That should be the fight win here, but it didn't land onto many.
Oh, and also Riven's able to stay alive with that healing, and Lenksa is just being an absolute raid boss right now on this Brigitte, and a fight that looked like it was completely won for Bilibili Gaming with the EMP just falls apart with some fantastic support play. Kyo was able to keep Riven alive throughout the entirety of that with the Nano, and Lenksa just being an absolute boss on that Brigitte moving forward, and Bilibili Gaming, again, seems like they're playing this really slow composition like this. The Sombra and the Hammond, you need time to set up, but Team Chaser, credit to them, are not giving Bilibili Gaming that chance.
Raid Bros Brig play is definitely online today. We saw it once earlier on to Blizzard World, and then we see it again here as you've got now X-Ray eliminated early. This is a chance for Bilibili to finally start exploiting that numbers advantage to swap this to gain some percentage of their own. You do have Kaneki barely surviving, forcing the recall to go back into this as a Prita commits the Deadeye. Still having the grab and the rally. Rally's actually going to be tossed out to make sure that they get enough armor. Entering back into this, 800's going to be locked down and can't escape, but Hyunjae has the rally and going to force it. They have to. It's 5% until completion. Beautiful Bionate onto Liga, but is going to be topped up the second that it fades. And a Prita drawing back is actually getting some value.
Pineapple died with the EMP! Pineapple died with that EMP! Oh, Rich, this is a disaster!
Yep, gets that pile drive for the execution, and now all of your resources into Pineapple falter for us to see not only a map 5, but a round 3. We've gone the distance here unless there is some miraculous recovery. There's no way that even this Pineapple's just never going to use it. Never going to use it. It's never going to happen. Sorry.
I mean, So this is the thing about Bilibili Gaming's composition there was I think they, like, Team Chaser played around it so well. Pineapple got one EMP, I mean he got two technically but didn't get to use the second one. He got one EMP off that entire round. Because Team Chaser was not letting Bilibili Gaming set up on their Sombra picks, they were just playing the more aggressive style, going into that back line, and it worked out so well for them. I would like to see Bilibili Gaming on this map in particular switch off the Sombra. I think if Team Chaser is going to continue to play this aggressive style into you, moving first, you can't just let them roll over you. You have to play to, or you have to like get some sort of counter dive in, because you, like, the Sombra is not really offering that much peel, and you're not playing at a tempo conducive to winning against what Team Chaser's running.
I mean, and they're going to keep it. They're not going to opt to swap. And they're still going to have Alpha E coming out on the Tracer to work in tandem with it. So, I mean, Bilibili, they're in a very challenging position, and that tempo is so key into this because Team Chaser is just playing hyper-aggressive. X-Rays going in, dislodging Bilibili from their positioning, and completely swarming this hut.
Yeah, I mean, look where X-Ray is right now. X-Ray is just, like, put a line in the sand. Like, you can't cross here if you're Bilibili Gaming. It doesn't matter that you have a Sombra. I'm still going to be here with the rest of my team. And Bilibili Gaming, health bar is so low right here, and this should be them taking this first point.
Oh, Prita does go down. Irony finds the pickup with a crossfire, but it's still Team Chaser cleaning up, and they're in a beautiful position to take this.
It's just too slow for Bilibili Gaming, and Team Chaser just has the aggression right now to hold down the fort against Bilibili Gaming right here, ticking up their percentage. Kaneki, I mean, look at how much Kaneki has done compared to Alpha E on the Tracer. Kaneki is at that 83%, gonna have the Pulse Bomb, and finally, Pineapple switches over to the McCree, and they are going to start playing a little bit more fast here with that McCree and not as slow with the Sombra just trying to get those hacks.
And it really needs to shut down Kaneki because there's been so much harassment in the back, so Pineapple still has a lot ahead of themselves to make sure that they can try and counterplay this. Alpha E has to force the recall, looking for an opportunity to dive into the back line and just push back Riven. They do recover with the shield. Kaneki also trying to round the outside, has the pulse bomb, as you said, but no window has been found just yet. X-Ray actually goes down. That's where Bilibili has to take advantage of this and just aggress forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is so scary as well for for Bilibili Gaming because they don't have the damage. Pineapple takes out Kyo, though. That's a big pick of Pineapple. Finally, the McCree seems to be working out for them.
Better late than never, friend. Better late than never.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, because right now it looks like instantly, it's already looks better for Bilibili Gaming right now with how they're playing. They have some CC to deal with Kaneki. They have some CC, some hard CC to deal with that Hammond as well. But Bilibili Gaming are staring down the barrel of a lot of ultimates coming in from Team Chaser. Luckily, they have support ultimates of their own, like the Rally and like the Transcendence, so they have some sustainability to work with in this next fight.
X-Ray generating towards that minefield to carry into this next fight. You're going to have probably Alpha E look for the chance to get this pulse bomb as well. Nice flashbang to come through to stun for the moment, but there's a great shield recovery from Liga as Hyunjae leads with a rally. That's a great way to start into this as the minefield comes out. Beautiful pile drive onto multiple members, but you're actually going to have Irony force out the Transcendence, and Hyunjae still goes down. Now you've got the minefield committed as well from 800. Both teams expending quite a handful into this to try and swap it back as it's almost surpassing percentage for Bilibili. X-Ray getting super low, but does manage to take out Liga before they have... Wow. Barely escapes here, and almost a nice environmental.
Hyunjae going down there was so huge because he was in the rally animation and actually was going off, but it gets taken down the middle of it, and he isn't able to give the CC or the healing to the rest of the team with the armor. Well played from Team Chaser, taking out that Brig, knowing it's a win condition, and now Bilibili Gaming come back. Alpha E looking for someone to hit this pulse bomb with. You can wait for the grab too, but actually again, X-Ray moving first. Bilibili Gaming are on the back ropes right now.
This is not where you want to be. Lynx is going to get hit by the Bionade here because there's some attention to the supports in the back, but hopefully they can work through this. Pineapple has to find some value with this Deadeye to zone Team Chaser into an uncomfortable position or potentially find a critical pick. The Bionade landed beautifully by Kyo, and 800 is eliminated. Now they just need to try and collapse onto it to keep into the overtime. 6 versus 5. Team Chaser might just be able to come out on top. They're scrambling to get to the point. Liga tosses out the grab, but goes down themselves. Deadeye gets the double. They're attempting everything possible with now, but 800 getting back into the mix. They might have enough to switch this back over. The healers are giving everything they can to 800. The Bionade's going to slow their roll and still playing this outskirts of the pillar.
Oh! Pineapple though!
Maybe gonna get the flashbang, goes to sleep, has to tumble out, barely evades, and now gets the follow. Pineapple coming out big, gets the triple on top of already their gains, and managing to swap it back.
That fight looked completely over for Bilibili Gaming. I thought it was completely done. I thought Pineapple was, even with the 2 kills, there was no way he was going to clutch it out, but he does. He kills Aprita during high noon, and then 2-taps the rest of the team, and Bilibili Gaming stay alive, but it's still last fight territory here for them. They need to play the rest of this map out perfectly here, Rich.
X-Ray up top, waiting for the opportune time. Stellar pile drive does get flinged back, now having the shield. Nano boost is ready, bio to sustain it, goes on to Pineapple, looking to try and get the damage onto the front position, goes down for the sleep, but comes back up, gets the pick onto Langsel, and they're coming back with a vengeance in this. They're not allowing Team Chaser to drop them to the lower bracket, and now it's just 8% away. It's going to be a scramble for Team Chaser to get back.
Pineapple's going absolutely bonkers right now on this McCree, and there's no one there. That's it. Bilibili Gaming are going to win that map off of the literal back of Pineapple. What an absolute clutch on that cowboy at the very end.
I mean, talk about a critical swap. The Sombra pick needed to go a while ago, but it still finally came out when necessary, because that's what just won them this upper to go into grand finals. I mean, literally Pineapple carried.
I mean,
that's it.
Yeah,
like,
he did.
That's it.
He did.
That's
he
it.
clutched it out. He clutched it out at the very end right there. That 5K, one of the best clutches I've seen in Chinese contenders. I mean, getting the 2 and then coming back in, killing Aprita during high noon, killing the rest of the members. Good sleep as well, I think, from Irony, who hit someone in the midst of that as well. But Pineapple, I mean, just put this man on any type of hit scan and he will carry you to the promised land, because Sombra, it's fine, but it's not Cowboy and it's not Ash. That's what Pineapple is the best at.
And we've talked so highly about Alpha E, and in this moment right now, it is Pineapple that we need to shower with praise. I mean, we've even we're discussing it right now on the back end. Play of the game. You got to say it, Kenobi. We're gonna let you have the glory of saying.
Oh yeah, player of the match is Pineapple. He literally saved the map. He saved the map. It was 99%. Team Chaser was up like 3 kills in that fight, and Pineapple comes back with a huge 5K to help Bilibili Gaming advance to our grand finals. This Bilibili team, again, they can carry from anywhere on the map, but today it was coming from their DPS.
And I mean, this is still something to really hold on to outside of Pineapple coming back in this, because Team Chaser actually gave Bilibili a little bit of run for their money. Like,
they were going to win that map. They were going to win. That was absolutely a map that Team Chaser was about to win, and Pineapple just clutches it out, which has been always the difference between Bilibili Gaming and Team Chaser during the season. Is when it matters most, Bilibili Gaming have those clutch players, and sometimes Team Chaser don't. Regardless of like how well I think Kaneki played this series, definitely showed me he's been a lot better and been improved. Aprita had his moments, but there is just too much clutch factor on that Bilibili Gaming roster.
And with Bilibili Gaming securing that grand finals position, that is where we see Team Chaser drop to the lower segment, where we will actually be having that next game coming up in just a moment, where it is going to be Time Resume versus Up Academy to see who will be progressing forward to face off against Team Chaser, where they're going to be fighting to get a redemption round to go back into this grand finals to face off against what an adversary that we just saw today. But before we get into that, we're going to be heading to a short break, my friends, so don't go anywhere, because we'll be back in just a moment with that action to see who's facing off against Team Chaser tomorrow.
Is your SR in the toilet? Are you losing every 1v1 you try to take? Do you deserve a higher rank, but your teammates just keep feeding? You aren't alone, but now you can ditch the defeat screen and learn from the best by subscribing to Overwatch Contenders. Watching Contenders matches works with your immune system to increase your gaming ability. It tackles the problem at the source and heightens your game sense. And ringing the bell is clinically proven to increase your ability to click on heads. So instead of waiting for Smurfs to carry you every game, Learn from the best and become the carry yourself. Overwatch Contenders is not for everyone. Consult your doctor before pressing that subscribe button. Side effects may include carry performances, increased levels of copium, higher risk of C9ing, throwing for content, increased reaction times, and back problems when carrying the weight of your team. It's time you took control of your SR. Ask your doctor about subscribing to Overwatch Contenders today.
Welcome back, my friends, as we have already had a series on our hands, and it's only one so far. But now we enter into the next, which is the part of the losers section, or the lower bracket, where we do have Up Academy versus Time Resume. And Kenobi, I mean, I would say that we're a little bit, dazzled by what had happened, is the word I think I wanted to try and use there.
Definitely.
But, I mean, to be fair, it was a clutch way to end it for Bilibili to get into the grand finals, but still one to definitely say that Team Chaser has really grown since what we've last seen when they played against Up Academy, which they could possibly see them again.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a potential matchup, and that would be interesting to have all three of the top three be Academy teams. That's something that definitely would makes sense, you know, if you're thinking about it. Like, Academy teams have all those resources, have everything they need to scrim the other teams, and so we see 3-2 for Bilibili Gaming against Team Chaser at the start. Up Academy versus Time Resume is what we have now. And Rich, this one is interesting because I think that it could go, like, many different ways. I think there's very big possibility that Up Academy just 3-0s this and it's not really close, but Time Resume has been making noise throughout this entire bracket so far, so anything can happen. They're the Cinderella story of this tournament, and we'll see if the clock strikes midnight or if they're going to be moving forward somehow in an upset.
Yeah, they've really taken leaps and bounds, and there was some, you know, stuff that you and both Door yesterday had kind of commented on, is that, you know, it's this coordinated, synergistic play that Time Resume has really refined and grown with, that is very, you know, relevant in this region, that has allowed a lot of these teams to accelerate from where they have been throughout the season. And with how Time Resume has adapted and gone into this, and even emphasis on just some of their really key players that have brought a lot of value, we can take a look here at Time Resume's roster and really just discuss about that. We actually are going to have Mocha starting out first here going into this. Mighty Lord yesterday got that MVP that you were looking at, most valuable player for their support role and what they brought to these fights, but Helavidan also getting a lot of value in their role, along with just the synergy between Pressure and their additional tank. It's just really, really key in those specific individuals that have brought so much into this, which gives them this chance to be so competitive.
Yeah, and I think for Time Resume, this is a team that really revolves around Xiaolian as being the main carry of this team on anything that they play. We've seen what carry potential Tracers can do, and Xiaolian is definitely one of those. Mocha being in the lineup means to me that they're going to be playing with a Hammond instead of a Winston, which is usually when you'll see Akion as we go to our next roster in Up Academy here in just a few seconds. And this has been a roster that has been so improved from when we last seen them. The biggest issue to me is that we're seeing Ion in the main tank role, which isn't a knock against Ion. It's just an unfortunate situation because Jihoon cannot play, unfortunately, due to sickness, and the combination between and the coordination between Ion and Off is not the same as the coordination between Jihoon and Off. Jihoon and Off, with the double shield composition that Up Academy likes to play, always seem to be on the same page, and it's sometimes just not the same with this tank line, so that's what I'm going to be looking out for. That tank line is going to be incredibly pivotal.
And I guarantee you Time Resume knows this going into it, that they're having that opportunity to exploit that subtle weakness coming in with the synergy between Ion and Off. And they've been growing. Like, they've been going in the direction where they're finding themselves more coordinated the longer that they're playing together. But yes, I 100% would agree with that statement of, you know, Jihan plus Off was so refined and clean and sharp that every time they were looking for value between the two of them, whether it's from a Hulk combination or just some kind of coordinated play, it opens up the opportunity for that DPS line to really get those executional picks that is necessary for moving on to the point or taking the objective and getting value, especially on that back line.
Definitely. And for going into our first map of Nepal, it kind of does make sense to me that Mocha is going to be in this lineup for Time Resume. I think a lot more maps in Nepal are favorable towards playing Hammond. Winston isn't bad on some of them, but I think Winston suffers on a few of them. So going with Mocha, I think, is a good start. But Up Academy here, it's interesting because I wonder what they're going to be playing, because they are always a double shield team, but they do sometimes often opt in for the ball play, and Ion is a pretty decent ball, but again, my eyes are going to be on the tank line, and also got to give a lot of credit to Seawave and Mike Haley, who have been kind of DPS who have flown under the radar as being some of the better DPS in this region, and I think they definitely have the potential to, you know, be talked about with those big boys of like Alpha Yi, Aprita, you know, people like that, Pineapple that we just saw. So here, Up Academy starting out with more of a rush look for them. Time Resume opting for that disruption. So look out for where these Sombra hacks are going to be going from Helavidan, because they're going to be very important.
pedestal is indeed necessary for the two of them on Up Academy, as now Seawave continues to come out with them free to look for those shots in the back line, has the ground control with the flashbang to attempt to shut down both Xiaolian along with Helivadan and the Sombra. Interesting, nice hack to come out onto ZXZ, preventing that utility that's necessary to maneuver Up Academy around as the pile drive comes into the back by Mocha. Very low, has to drop down to the lower section if a hack comes out onto pressure. It will swap in favor of Time Resume. Mocha still surviving, barely gets out of that. And now this push comes to shove. This ebb and flow from Up Academy exploits the front line. Pressure is literally about to get D-Max, but somehow comes through. But with that reposition of the focus, supports are down, and that's it.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Time Resume is kind of running this support line without like a Winston, which is usually what you see. You see like the Winston Diva, and then you see the Sombra and the Tracer alongside with this, but they're running a composition where this Mercy, or not the Mercy rather, the Moira's not really going to get a lot of AoE value in terms of healing when it's like when you're comboed along with a Winston. Luckily, Time Resume's coming back into this. They have some percentage on the clock. They also have EMP and Pulse Bomb at the ready, and probably once this fight really breaks out, they'll get their support ultimates, which could be incredibly impactful as well.
And Helivadan, again, just about to gain it, looking to try and get those extra few shots necessary to have it, but Zamoka gets hacked on the front line. EMP comes out onto 3. Mykaeli goes in instantly, even though they weren't even touched by the EMP. ZXZ gets then independently hacked after the EMP and is just fully unavailable for that engagement as Time Resume actually gets back into this.
Yeah, and Up Academy have to retreat, especially losing Charon that early. Once that Baptiste is down, there is no healing for this side of Up Academy right now. Lucio cannot handle it, especially if Sound Barrier isn't at the ready. And Time Resume coming into this are going to have their support ultimates. Still, Up Academy will at the same time and can basically contest here, but Mykaeli looking for something with this EMP, needs to find that backline.
And Sneaky is actually found close enough that they do get some shots onto it outside of it. Still actually procs it, landing onto 3. You've got POV committing the Sound Barrier, but both tanks were not hit by it and actually gets picked up by the explosion radius from off. Amplification Matrix now by Sharon in the back gets that extra boost of damage necessary for the cleanup, and they're going to swap it back.
And I think the biggest issue there for Time Resume was once the EMP came out, they used both support ultimates at the same time and layered them and weren't able to kind of cycle them the way you would want. And we're seeing some swaps actually in terms of their DPS, running more of a standard Brig Zen lineup with the ball and with the Diva. So I think this definitely makes a lot more sense in terms of just the synergies of this composition, and Up Academy sticking to what they know, not switching up anything. But Helivadan coming back in here, gonna have that EMP. We see EMP's been incredibly impactful, and really it's gonna be off the back of Charon to be able to get away from this and use Immortality Field to help keep the rest of the members alive.
Minefield into the pile drive, tucked into the corner. They have to play super cautious here as you've got Seawave up top just looking to pump in some damage onto the back line. Has to force them back 77%, and they're in prime position to make this the last fight after.
And actually, Helivadan got found out by the McCree and was taken down so early in that fight that there was no threat of the EMP. Now they will have that threat coming back into this next fight for sure, but Off has been doing a really good job of scouting out this Sombra and not letting them realistically get a ton of value. Seawave, as you can see, is still just like looking and lurking and trying to find that Sombra wherever they might be.
Yeah, keeping tabs multiple occasions, especially around over where the elephant statue is. If there were a couple occasions sought out, EMP now going to come, land onto 1. Off is unavailable to use any of the boosters, as you've got Ion and Mykaeli being overwhelmed as well. Mykaeli actually gets hit a second time here to try and prevent that EMP in retaliation coming through from Up Academy, and with the elimination of Ion, the main tank goes down. Counter EMP, you've got Xiaolian and Pressure hit, but there is Mighty Lord with that Transcendence to sustain through it, and they're still just looking to switch this back and can't yet do it.
Yeah, this fight is so scrappy, but the healers are coming back here for Up Academy, even though it has flipped over to Time Resume. Keep an eye out on that Somber EMP charge. Is Helivadan going to be able to get it before this map ends?
Xiaolian needs to try and get this Pulse Bomb to execute something in the back line. Helivadan, as well, as you said, nearing only 7% to go. Has to find the last few. Mocha gets hacked. Helivadan almost eliminated, trying to survive. Mocha goes down, and you've got the EMP locked and ready as Pressure puts the self-destruct down, seeing if they can try and zone them into an area.
Everyone!
As Helivadan doesn't land anything. It's only Ion who gets hit by it with a Discord Orb and manages to survive through it afterwards because the supports keep him topped up. 99 for Up Academy, and Time Resume is just buying seconds to get this to a 99, but they're going to run dry here.
Oh, that's brutal if you're Hillevadan. The Transcendence is here to try and keep them alive, but the Shatter comes down, and I think that's it, Rich. There is no one left here for Time Resume, just stragglers, 99 to 99, but it's Up Academy who take this first stage of Nepal.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of time. And honestly, with how Up Academy has been playing, it was, you know, very well combatant by Time Resume. So this is something that we really were talking about, how Time Resume has come into this to try and really show that they are a formidable force to compete against Up Academy, who has really become one of those top 3 that we've discussed. So for Time Resume to be here at this position and really giving such contention is significant for their credibility, but also for their own morale going into these matches ahead of them.
Yeah, and I think for Up Academy there, or for Time Resume there, it was just really unfortunate that Hillevadan didn't hit anything with that EMP. Like, that was the thing that they really needed to hit in that last scenario, and it just managed to hit absolutely no one. If that EMP goes off and hits a couple of members, that fight could look completely different. But it's Up Academy who clutch it at the very end. Now going back over to their Orisa look, which I think is something that they definitely thrive in. This is a composition that Up Academy is probably the best at, and they used to have Jihoon, but now they still have Ion on it, and they still make it work pretty okay. As Time Resume, they're opting in for something that they are very familiar with which is this Pharah matchup for Xiaolian, and he has a lot of spam that can break these shields, but he's going up against double hit scan, Rich, so he has to be incredibly careful because he's going to get pressured out really hard.
I mean, C-Wave and Mike Lee are just hyper-focused on that rooftop, waiting to see... They even have to swap it. Yeah, needs to happen. There's no way they're going into that.
Oh, yeah, but still, like, Time Resume is taking a fight somehow. POV gets caught out, and you don't have your... There's a little bit of miscommunication there, because Xiaolian was not there, but, oh, Up Academy may have stepped a little bit too far. C-Wave was there by himself. It's a comedy of errors for both of his teams, it feels like right now, Rich.
It feels like a comedic drama for most of this right now, as you're going to get the pile drive in the back coming in from Mocha, attempting to get that nice stun into the back, as you've got ZXC taking down Xiaolian on the Genji play, not getting value. Nice Helix Rocket with the extra couple of shots onto Mighty Lord, and still Up Academy keeps his percentage, though.
Oh, but Mighty Lord reses up and actually gets back into this fight, so the healers are going to be here, just taken right back down, not able to use the nano, which is huge, but these fights are going back and forth. Charon has the Transcendence if Up Academy need to sustain a little bit longer.
I mean, the Transcendence still is online, though, for Up Academy, so they do have that extra time necessary if they want to try and drag this out. Has to force it. The damage is going to come through so heavily by the micro rockets from pressure, the sustain, and the roundabout positioning as ZXZ gets the pickup onto Mocha, and you can even just see the bailing out of there so quickly. Pressure can't survive the damage.
They actually might have gone a little bit too far. Luckily, Off is able to get out of there even though they were hacked, and Time Resume are coming up on basically every single one of their ultimates. Not even basically, they have them all. Nano Boost at the ready. Look at Mighty Lord. He's looking for it.
Yep, gonna go right in for the Genji Blade with a Nano Boost. Does get one, but hits by a volley underneath. Sharon comes out with the assistance for Ion as Attack Visor overhead, looking to trying to eliminate the stragglers underneath the archway. Having a real difficult time, especially because the res came through by POV to stack numbers in favor of Time Resume, and an EMP should be able to lock this down.
Yeah, Hillevadan just using this EMP, taking everyone down, and Up Academy, to be fair to them, I think played that really well against the Nano Blade. They throw off self-destruct to try and negate the follow-up from Xiaolian and put him in an uncomfortable position, but there's just too much follow-up damage and too much ultimate economy advantage for Time Resume there. They still have their tank ultimates, and Up Academy now put Mike Lee onto that McCree again to try and deal with these diving members of Time Resume, giving you that CC. The C-Wave looking for something in this backline with the Pulse Bomb. He can hit the Ana or hit the Mercy and get a lot of value there.
Ooh, nice flashbang onto pressure, attempting to try and get some value early as the pile drive's actually not going to be committed here, waiting for more of Up Academy to pressure out into the open space. Self-destruct tucked in.
Wait,
pressure in
caught.
a really hard position. Does actually get the explosion off in time to make sure that Off is actually demech, and pressure can retaliate against it with Xiaolian's assistance onto Ion. Even though it's 83%, then it was almost about to swap to Up Academy. Time Resume recovers in this.
Yeah, C-Wave is trying to be a nuisance and trying to pull Time Resume to the point so that the rest of the members of Up Academy can move forward, but Time Resume is not fooled by it, and they still are able to hold this high ground because it's really hard for Up Academy to move forward. And oh, what an anti-nade. That means you're going to have to wait a little bit longer as well. Off needs to really be on his toes for eating these, because Mighty Lord has hit a couple of them so far.
Yeah, Mighty Lord being the MVP for a reason yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised to see it possibly come out again here, as Lee does get rid of Jolie and doesn't have that deflect up in time to make sure they can withstand it, as now the res comes through by POV, but it's shut down. Off gets the follow-up, so they've got now a 6 versus 4 advantage. The flashbang comes through to slow the momentum from Mocha, dropping down to look to swap this away.
Academy do swap, but the Nano is committed here onto the Diva, and actually the Transcendence as well. Mighty Lord gets taken out by Off, as you can hear the Ana screaming off the mountainside, the echoes of horror. As Up Academy now 94%, it's desperation time for time resume. Xiaolian does have a blade that can combo along with an EMP from Hill-Evidand.
Overtime now starting to dwindle. You have Mocha finally committing to this so that they can get it into the overtime. Pressure taking the cross position as the Genji Blade is here, looking to see if they can find an opportunity with this. Again, they've lost Mighty Lord on the Ana, so they don't have the Nano. It's going in by itself, attempting to go against and into the Brig, but the stun is there. The crowd control is overwhelming, and you have no value gained. Time resume is going to start falling drastically from an opportunity of taking back this point, and Up Academy manages to take it 2 rounds to 0, and I guarantee you there's going to be a large cup of tea waiting for the Ana play somewhere off in the distance.
I think a little bit of a misplay as well from Mighty Lord, who had such a great performance, but unfortunately used that Nano in that fight when it was not needed. I don't think you needed that. You could have waited until you come back into that fight with the EMP, with the Nano Blade, then use it. Just an EMP, or a Nano of Hope, it felt like in that scenario. Especially because the Transcendence came out, so, man, I think they're definitely going to be wanting that one back. But full credit to Up Academy, who have been looking good on this map.
It's just those few real micro misplays that just need to be corrected and refined in this, so you're going to see time resume able to come back in. But again, this is only the map of control, so once we enter into our next, it's really going to start differentiating, I believe, Up Academy to time resume from what we've seen before. And I mean, again, the Genji wasn't a terrible pick, it's just you found yourself caught out, whether it was from the Zen volley, which you saw, or when you're getting in the close proximity of a Brig, you're just not going to have a good time.
Yeah, especially if it's just a naked blade and has nothing else on it. I mean, that's just the worst case scenario for you if you're a Genji player in 2021. And I think for Up Academy, Ion looked okay on the Orisa. I think the biggest issue actually was Off on the Diva, who... Their Diva is okay, but I think their best hero is that Sigma, and it looked like it was a little bit shaky in terms of eating those anti-nades, and those are things that, if you're going to be going forward in this tournament, you can't let players like Keo or Irony get value like that, as we're going to be going into our next map, which is going to be Volskaya Industries. We've seen a lot of just entertaining play on this map, I will say, with all the games that we've seen. Very eventful.
Very eventful. And if those of you are wondering why we have such a grin on our face when we state that, you should definitely either
watch the VOD of yesterday.
Look at the VOD, or even just go to Door Twitter and just look at the picture. The picture that he's got up there is basically the story in and of itself, encapsulated in one singular image. But yes, it was quite a doozy of a game yesterday on Volskaya Industry with a wrecking ball. We'll leave it there. But yes, Volskaya Industry, we even just saw some interesting play when it came to Bilibili managing to claim their first win on this map, which was a challenge as well. So Volskaya Industry is very relevant right now. Is a chance to see potentially that same kind of, Tracer Sombra play. Sombra, again, a little bit more of that slower tempo. Could see some variety as well with that, hit scan that we've had as well. On the defensive side, the Ashe has been really relevant. So a plethora of things that can come out here as we do take a look at the defensive side, because Up Academy will take it first, and they are going to opt for C-Wave on this Ashe, which, again, is a scary entity.
Interesting to me also that they're not going to be opting in for the Hanzo. That's usually what we see from this team when they're on the defensive end like this. It's going to be the Tracer and the Ashe instead. Yeah. So, because we know C-Wave specifically on this map is crazy on the Hanzo, and something that I wish, I mean, not to say that the Ashe is bad, don't want to say that by any means, but their Hanzo on this map has always been stellar. Time resume, I wonder, I mean, Mocha's in the lineup, so this tells me that they're going to be playing Hammond, and that kind of tells me as to why Up Academy's opting for this specific composition, because against a Hammond like this, C-Wave's going to be able to have a little bit of that mobility to get away, and Mike Haley can burst down the Hammond if they decide to do so, as Time resume going to switch up their composition, it looks like a little bit, to a more spam type of composition, because you need that shield break. They know that they're not going to get anywhere unless they have some sort of shield break, so that's why they have pressure with their own shield to move forward, and they also have a Hanzo of their own.
I mean, they can potentially get some shots here to make Seaway feel a little bit uncomfortable, but again, while those shields are there and really using that box on the high ground can... Oh, actually, wowzers! In the back line, you're going to actually have two quickly eliminated Up Academy defensively take an early advantage.
Yeah, so Time Resume plays this a little bit like a 4-2 split, where they have the Hammond and they have the Tracer go off into the backline and try and get one of the supports, and the rest of the team moves in as 4 with the Sigma Shield as much as they can. Because you can see Mocha is just chilling in this backline, and you have to send someone to check him. It looks like it's Mike Lee's job, as the Mocha's going to get burned down pretty quickly here. I mean, actually survives somehow.
Survives, yeah. Like, that was so close, but... all the while, you see Zhao Lian getting taken down on this Tracer, so has to wait for the regroup as Mocha's topped up, so that gives a little bit of opportunity for the supports to stack up an ult percentage, because Charon's already in a beautiful position towards this amplification matrix.
Mocha just has to play so safely. I saw him go towards the water, and I was like, please, not again.
I held my breath a little bit as well. I'm going to be real honest with you. We both did. With now, again, patient, waiting for Hell of a Dan to get topped up. And honestly, it's just such a challenge here for Time Resume to pressure into this. They take the small angle towards the doorway, but look at how much damage they're soaking.
Oh, and that's the stick that should be able to take down Mocha, and that's going to be a fight win for Up Academy. Playing this defense masterfully right now. Time Resume just... It feels like it's just so slow, like they're trying to take space away, but there's one thing that Aristocomps can do really well is just hold down an area and has a ton of CC on this composition, so it makes Ball's life even more miserable as this time bank from Time Resume has been dwindled down. They're coming up on some key ultimates that could break open this fight, but their time bank is really struggling at the current moment.
Yeah, under 2 minutes, and now you're going to have Mocha completely shut down again.
That's big.
There's just so much value. Hell of a Dan at least tries to get somebody eliminated, but now with POV down, Mighty Lord has to force out this Transcendence to pressure out into the open space to attempt to compete, and Julian gets completely nullified by the Immortality field. Hell of a Dan actually tossed into the sky, with Bob getting a follow-up through the doorway, and you've got Up Academy in a position to just shut the rest of Time Resume down to put them into a very challenging position with just over 60 seconds.
Time Resume do have the spawn, so they can just come in and take away this space, but Mighty Lord gets taken down. That's a huge pick from Seawave, and here comes the Ant Matrix.
Lots of damage, trying to dodge to the side of the kinetic grasp to prevent it. Mike Lee is just playing out of their mind right now. In addition to Seawave, they're really putting so much pressure on the Time Resume.
And there's only 50 seconds that's left, and Time Resume are coming in with a couple of ultimates. Mocha's in this backline trying to just be a complete nuisance. I mean, you see the Tracers already along here with Xiaolian. Xiaolian looking for some sort of pulse bomb to break open this defense.
Mike Lee getting harassed and overwhelmed. 2 for 1, really, just sitting in the back, getting some long additional healing as the engagement ensues up front. Mocha drops the minefield to draw back Up Academy towards the point, nearing where those health packs are to sustain, in addition to the supports tossing out those packs, and Charon getting just some great area of effect healing. Mike Lee in the back, though, having the pulse bomb waiting as the TVT continues to ensue. Flux underneath actually only really grabs 1, and it does get Ion off as well. That's the gap that you need, and it has to take advantage of it. This is Time Resume taking this first point.
I mean, it takes them so long, but they finally are able to win a fight because of the fact that there was a really nicely well-placed pulse bomb from Xiaolian, specifically taking out the Immortality field from Charon, and then it's not going to be there to be used to deal with the gravitic flux damage that was coming in. And Up Academy, for as well as they played that defense, now are looking at down the barrel of 3 minutes to defend some more, but luckily they have Ant Matrix, they have Rally and gravitic flux as a Bob just to top everything off. I mean, they should be able to not get snowballed here if they play this correctly.
More than enough to buffer this defense. They should be able to rotate this properly. Ion's going to keep on at the Superchargers, looking to see if they can get that. And Flux is going to be the first to lead into, trying to see if they can get it. The Transcendence by Mighty Lord looking to counteract it so that nobody is eliminated, but has to now fall back as Bob finds the second use along with the Amplification Matrix. This backline positioning by Seawave, attempting to try and counter Hell of a Dan, is going to look for a value. The Bob actually takes down the Tracer positioning, so there's still an opportunity here for just a complete shutdown. They managed to hold 2, and Mike Lee should get this pulse bomb as well.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're Time Resume, you actually take this not too bad. I mean, unfortunately, you did get a Transcendence for yourself, but you were able to force out some key ultimates from Up Academy. You forced out Gravitic Flux. Now, Time Resume comes back into this. They have a wealth of ultimates in their own name. The issue is that Up Academy kept a lot of their key ones. They kept their rally. They also kept that pulse bomb like you were talking about. C-Wave gets a little bit too over-aggressive there, and Time Resume can go in.
Minefield's actually going to be committed into this by Mocha up front. A lot mitigated, though, by the kinetic grasp from the Tracer play from Zhao Lian. It has to fall back and look for a regroup. Reconvening towards the supports. Extra damage now from Ion with the Supercharger down below, but quickly going to be fixated on by Zhao Lian along with the Immortality Field. Pulse Bomb comes in onto C-Wave, stuck and then deleted. With this rounding to the high ground, it's an opportunity for Time Resume to get back into this, but the respawn still in favor of Up Academy.
Oh, and Time Resume actually hasn't gotten a tick. They were so close to getting it, but it actually didn't tick over. And with the respawns that are coming in, Time Resume are not getting these kills fast enough, Rich.
Pressure finally gets rid of the Baptiste play, no longer having the amplification matrix, but yes, there are still denied a completion of at least one tick in this with 55 seconds to go. The stun comes in by the Brig play of ZXE before getting eliminated by the Tracer. Transcendence committed. They will get this. Oh no, there's still contention, and they might actually be able to hold this before even the first completion.
The tick is still not there. It's so close. Time Resume is trying desperately to hold on to something. Here comes the Bob out, but Time Resume, their health bars are low.
POV with the armor, attempting to give some extra fortification onto the point as they do have the spawn advantage to try for Up Academy. Getting back into this. Flux over top by off. Attempting to land it onto one. Does get POV just over top the shield, so it isn't going to block the double tap. The spin to win now from Mocha is the only saving grace with the minefields in the corner. Scrappiest of all scrap on this point, but it will finally be an opportunity to recover here.
And Xiaolian was so close to trying to clutch this out, but it doesn't look like Time Resume had enough staying power. They just have to get someone to the point, but they aren't able to do so. And that's Time Resume. 55.2% is what they get. I mean, they were lucky to get anything, it felt like, because they were always just like hanging right before that one last tick to get anything and secure that extra percentage. But the win condition now is set here for Up Academy.
A strand of hair worth of distance to complete that first tick for more than a minute, mind you, as we do have that swap of sides. And yes, the good thing is that they've at least gained some kind of tick value going on to point B. So again, this is a tall task. Up Academy has played this map very, very well. Previously, we've seen a lot of value coming through, and as we look at this defensive composition, it's going to still be Actually, Hellevidan's going to come out still with the Ashe, and we're going to have the Tracer play as well. So this is very reminiscent of what we had just seen on the reverse side going into this, outside of the subtle adjustment to the tank line.
Time Resume here, like you were talking about, the subtle adjustment that we're having pressure going to be on that Sigma. And for Up Academy, I mean, this is kind of what they do on this map in particular on the offense. They run this like 6-man rush style of composition with like very much a Dallas Fuel look to them. It might switch up. No, I think they're gonna. Off is just trolling right now and is gonna just go on the D.Va.
He's gonna bait you.
Bait me right now.
He's absolutely gonna bait you.
He's gonna go on the D.Va. I would not expect that there would ever be a Sigma along with a composition like this, and I would expect C-Wave here to go over to a Sombra after this TP comes in from. I hope so. I hope it's a Sombra.
Oh, are they off? Are they off? Oh no, they're just getting some insight on what the composition's gonna be, and they're gonna look to swap it. Oh wow, they're not gonna do it. Yeah, they're gonna go back with the double shield
swaps. I mean, this is what Up Academy is the best at. This is their best composition, and I really like this decision as well because it makes Hellevidan's life really difficult to be spamming through both of these shields. And I think Up Academy make a really good decision here. You rotate all the way through Dark and try and take this high ground, and then you start spamming away at Time Resume.
I mean, and if we take a pulse on the swap to this, Up Academy freely can just roam to this counter side. They're not being pressured like it was on the reverse position. Mocha up top is just having to wait for an engagement to come through with a pile drive. Does finally get a chance, but is halted in and will get almost completely consumed. C-Wave getting rid of Mighty Lord is a big disaster. Hellevidan almost eliminated in the back, has to reside near the supports, and this is just now a snowball growing to a massive boulder.
Yeah, I think that was expertly played from Up Academy. Like, they didn't go... I thought they might go to the high ground, but against a Hammond like that, going to the high ground is very scary, so they just take it through the low ground on the counter side. Mocha dives in, but gets completely blown up and CC'd to where he has to move away. Up Academy move forward, and C-Wave takes control of the high ground where he can take out Mighty Lord and put a lot of pressure onto Hulevidan. Now, Hulevidan was able to do a lot of damage and get this Bob for this next fight. So the snowball isn't necessarily there for Up Academy, but they've got 5 minutes, Rich, and they only need to get about half of this point to win the map.
Hulevidan gonna wait for that opportune time to prevent it again, just over half, as you said. 55.2 is the goal here with 5 minutes on the clock. As you see C-Wave looking to try and get some coverage in the back, waiting to engage on this. You've got the amplification matrix leading in for the boosted damage, coming in from that side angle. Still a lot of healing coming through. Mighty Lord gets picked up again. Hulevidan needs to commit this to have the extra body for contention and applied pressure underneath. But still, you've got Time Resume attempting to recover with the spawn's advantage going there, barely skirting by that log, just whizzing by and only getting a partial damage onto the health bar. But Up Academy with the supercharger gets more than what they need to push forward, and you now have the Flux up top trying to keep pressure alive, but it will not survive. That's it. That's going to be it. They're getting these picks despite the respawn advantage.
Well, the Transcendence, though. The Transcendence, though, is there.
Yeah, they can actually turn this around. They forced Up Academy into the choke point to that side area where now Off has to go into the back line harassing. They re-engage this. They digress back. The ebb and flow once again to pick up several. ZXE takes down their counterpart. It's Mighty Lord remaining. Xiaolian is actually doing a stellar job on this Tracer to keep this into their favor, but they're nearing this completion.
But the rally is here and available for Up Academy. They're trying to keep them off. Time Resume. They're so close to being able to hold here. They just need a couple more kills.
Yep, Mighty Lord is down. They completely gang rush into the corner. They're just like, we've got you isolated. But when there's so many focusing to support, it's a recovery from Time Resume because everyone else was left to their own devices. It's still back and forth. They have the chance. It's only going to be now. Xiaolian with the attempt to complete this, but oh my goodness, they are going to hold on to this with the respawns.
Wow, that was the longest fight I think I've ever seen. It was about like 2 minutes of just continuous fighting. It felt like it could have gone either way, but Time Resume, the spawn's just too much for Up Academy to deal with, and Xiaolian had some crazy picks in that fight as well. And Time Resume continuing to hold this defense. Up Academy did get the tick, though, so they do have that progress still in their bank. And coming back into this fight, Hulevidan gonna have that Bob to make this a 7v6, and also a big ultimate here. Time Resume. Pressure's got that Gravitic Flux, and there is no defensive ultimate, but there is that Immortality field. Up Academy have to position incredibly well.
Hulevidan again looking to see where they can posture to drop down Bob, manages to toss it to the corner, almost gets eliminated. There is some contention on the point, so it's going to force some low ground positioning. More so why we saw the Bob play come through, but honestly, Up Academy's just going to wait this out, play it, almost takes down Hulevidan again. Ion looking with that Gatling gun to shut him out.
Supercharger.
Now the Supercharger, Flux comes through, rising them, leaving it vulnerable, as you're going to see Xiaolian look immediately for it to prevent that extra boost of damage, which is so significant for Up Academy's success into this. Now, off with the Flux, waiting for them to be clustered into the corner. Kinetic Grasp mitigating a lot of damage onto the front line as the Pulse Bomb comes through. Immortality Field can't keep you alive for long when Hulevidan's got a focal point onto it, and this is another fight here for Time Resume.
Xiaolian is playing absolutely out of his mind right now, going into the back line, securing a ton of these kills, and just being a complete nuisance. Up Academy just has not been able to deal with this Tracer, even with all the CC in their bank. And Time Resume, a time bank that was around 5.5 minutes, has now been dwindled to only 1 minute and 30 seconds. This is a winnable situation for Time Resume here. Mighty Lord coming in with this Transcendence, gonna need it against this Gravitic Flux coming in from Off.
Yep, just stacking every ultimate imaginable. Ion's going to be the only one lacking going into this, unless there's a possibility of carrying it towards the last few seconds. Mighty Lord waits patiently, keeping that healing up, looking for the volley down below to help break the shield. Nice positioning to keep that Mocha position alive. Big volley onto the Bob in the corner, attempting just to eliminate it, so that's one ultimate down. ZXC has fortified, buffered, and
dead.
armored, and with Helivadan down, they've lost a lot of damage, and once again, it relies on the shoulders of Zhalian, who does not want to give up into this. Big flux onto multiples, but this Transcendence still prevailed by Mighty Lord. C-waving off up front with the great assistance from the support line in the back. That's going to be the nail in the coffin as the completion comes through. Up Academy takes it 2-0 in the map score.
Off had a phenomenal gravitic flux at the end there. Even though it was in the Transcendence, forcing out that Transcendence, and then the rest of the team followed up so well, specifically Mike Haley going into the back, getting a ton of value and taking down Mighty Lord, who, if was in that fight, could have turned it with just the raw damage and output that they were bringing to the table. But, man, Up Academy, it looked a bit shaky there, but they saved it until the last moment, and they're going to be up 2-0.
And we can take a look at some of these highlights. It was quite a round for both of these teams, but Up Academy in the end of it all, still coming out on top. It was a little scary for them, I will admit. I think we both kind of got into that position of, wow, okay, that's a lot of time dwindled down from time resume, but I mean, ultimately they prevailed. They had the 5 ultimate stack, they got the early advantage, and they managed to move in with another map score.
See, I mean, Up Academy here, 2-0, looking cool, calm, and collected at this moment. To be fair, though, also a little bit shaky, like we talked about on their offense with how much of the time bank they had and how much it got dwindled away. But, hey, sometimes you still got to clutch those ones out, and they actually managed to do so, and that's going to be Up Academy. I mean, depending on what map we go to next, I'm interested to see how Time Resume ups in to whatever they're going to play, because I think the idea of kind of playing this 2-4 split style with Mocha and Shalian going around and just being nuisances in the backline and leaving the rest of the 4 members to kind of do their own thing. I think it's working out for them pretty decently, but we have seen Akion be a member of this team that gets thrown in sometimes depending on the map, so I wonder if we do see a change at all for this Time Resume squad, because they are on match point and their tournament lives are on the line.
Yeah, again, for those tuning in that might not have been here at the top of the broadcast to see the bracket, this is the last moment for both of these teams moving forward. It is either you win and get in and move on, or the other goes home and says goodbye to their last opportunity to play in this Chinese Contenders with Overwatch 1. That's another thing to also think about, too, is that this is the last iteration that we'll probably ever really get to see of it moving forward for these individuals, so they want to be able to leave with a legacy feeling proud. And, I mean, again, just honestly, so far between this, I cannot wait to see how this third map is going to be underway between the two of them, because there is still glimmers of hope for Time Resume. We'll be able to find that out after we go to this short break, so don't go anywhere to see if there is potentially another opportunity, just like Team Chaser did earlier, to take a few maps back.
Hey, just what do you think you're doing, you scientist? Is this what our tax dollars are going to? Well, enough of your tomfoolery. We need you on the battlefield, so put down those beakers and suit up. That's more like it. Looking good for a couple of scientists. To suit up yourself, all you have to do is create your Battle.net account, link it to your YouTube account, and then tune in to our Contenders broadcast during October to earn May and Winston Contender skins. After that, you too can harness the power of science to zap, freeze, and pummel your way to victory. Yes, pummel. Like all scientists should. So get experimental and get watching Overwatch Contenders today.
Hi friends, we're still here, and we're going to continue on as we enter into map 3 to see if it's going to be Up Academy finishing it out with a 3-0, knocking Time Resume completely out of this tournament, or they're going to be able to find us going into a 4th map. Kenobi, we've seen some positives coming out from Time Resume, and Up Academy still being able to move themselves in a positive, beneficial direction. But can it still hold as we're going into our next map, which, again, it'll be interesting to see what that selection is that's going to help benefit them, and we actually have confirmation that it's Blizzard World.
Blizzard World going to be the map. Again, something that I was wondering going into this was what the tank line was going to look like for Time Resume, because I think that definitely is something that if they wanted to change, they could change it on this map. Winston, I think, has a lot of value here, but so does Ball, so it wouldn't shock me if Mocha stays in the lineup. The other thing about this is that I think Xiaolian has been playing phenomenal so far, and I think they are definitely someone who has come out of nowhere in terms of being just like a very carry-oriented DPS that if he's not checked, like we saw kind of Team Chaser check BLG's Tracer player in Pineapple or Alpha Yi, I think Up Academy needs to start respecting them a little bit more.
No, I mean, I agree with it, and I mean, as we go into this, you're going to see Up Academy on the defense first, and we're looking to see what that final selection is going to be, and I mean, you have to try and keep it in check because you can't let it run rampant. I mean, there has been significant outplays and just the ability to change fights. I mean, we've even just seen Pineapple earlier on a McCree completely change the entire outcome of a map 5. So with this Tracer, if left unhandled, it can be devastating. As we take a look here, just as these last few seconds dwindle, I'm curious what they're going to lock on here from Time Resume.
And for Up Academy, this makes a ton of sense with what their defenses bring to the table. We're going to be seeing the double shield. This is the best composition that they have right now, but I love what Time Resume is doing right here, bringing out a double spam look, because these shields from Up Academy are going to absolutely get melted by an Echo, by a Sigma, by a Hanzo, just continuously spamming the shields down. And if you don't have shields with this composition of Up Academy, you have nowhere to stand, you have nowhere to hold.
Seawave's going to have to keep a very watchful eye up top. Almost gets the pickup onto Xiaolian, but still manages to survive through it. They're keeping an eye on that flanking position too, just to see where that wrecking ball from Mocha is going to try and re-engage. Nice knockback here. Focusing beam comes through. Nobody low enough really to get the advantage, especially because the immortality field is there, and tries to bob and weave around that rooftop to see if they can go in for another engagement. Great pile drive onto Seawave, and that should be able to start snowballing into their benefit as long as they can keep breaking down this front line.
The tanks, I mean, the DPS are down here for Up Academy, but the DPS are down, or the tanks are down for Time Resume, and Karon actually is just taking it in their own right now, being a DPS. Dor told me that this is one of the best supports in the region, but it's not enough, unfortunately, and Time Resume will be taking this first point here. I don't think that Up Academy is going to try and get back onto this one and stall, and it looks like they won't, but Time Resume won that fight, Rich, just off the back of simply having so much spam that Up Academy had to respect it with their shields. They walk back to point, and at that point, Mocha's just going to be able to roll around on Hammond and disrupt you and put you in the waiting arms of either the Echo or the Hanzo.
And there's got to be some real acknowledgement of this, because if they move into this open streets phase, they'll have that upper position that they can use from the catwalk. But Mike Lee looking to sneak into the back with the pulse bomb, lands it on to Xiaolian and says, "Nah, friend, I got something with your name on it."
That's what I want to see more of. I mean, it is going to get resurrected, so Time Resume's still going to be in this fight. And look at the ultimates that they have as well. Up Academy is in a bit of a scary position right now.
Oh, wow, that pile drive lands on both tanks. Now you're going to get the duplicate coming out onto the Sigma for the extra tank line up front to give the quick pickup. Doesn't even need the flux to follow through immediately after. It's just 4 minutes now on the time bank to push through underneath past this cafe.
Oh, and Up Academy actually used the supercharger, got no value, and now Ion has just decided in this more, let's say, open area of the map as we go past this pylon terrace, they're going to be switching up more towards a divey look themselves, give you the mobility of having Ion on that Hammond. Seawave actually going to the Widowmaker. This is to put pressure onto Xiaolian and Helevidan, who are going to be in, long range areas, but Seawave has to be incredibly careful here if he stays on this pick, because he will get annihilated by Mocha just running into him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mocha's going to have a targeter system onto that Seawave play with the Widowmaker. And now you can see Helevidan underneath, looking to get some decent shots since he's got great coverage underneath that pylon terrace. Mike Lee gets picked out, and honestly, Time Resume is coming out really big with this. And Up Academy cannot seem to just counter this echo play.
Yeah, this double spam has been working out so well, and I think C-Wave, I mean, I get the idea that it's like a hit scan, you want that one-shot potential, but I don't think the Widowmaker is the right decision here. I think it's a desperate swap of just trying to ego the other team and the other hit scan, and it hasn't gotten a lot of value. Up Academy played Overwatch 2 right there. They had only 5 members. They didn't really have anything coming in from C-Wave, so time resume, going to be moving forward, 4.5 minutes in their time bank. This, I think, is a better decision. Putting him on the Sombra, being able to get that hack, turn off the lights of Mocha and of the tank line in that back line as well. You can take down Mighty Lord. I think this is much better for Up Academy.
As they start to approach the tail end of this, pile drive comes in by Ion. Is going to get very, very harassed. Now has to flee. Pulse Bomb comes in by Mike Kaylee to get rid of pressure, so that's a favorable engagement to hopefully stent the bleeding for the time being. Salvadan is prepped with a Dragon Strike, attempting to find potentially an angle as the payload actually still progresses forward here, Kenobi.
Still moving forward, but the dive comes in from Ion seeing if they can get anything in that backline, but the healing is good enough with the Valkyrie. This cart gonna be start moving forward in a bit.
With the focusing beam coming out, attempting to, does have the rise and fall with POV and Mighty Lord committing the support ultimates into this. Duplicate once again onto the Sigma to get that value quickly to try and get the Flux to potentially counter as the Transcendence has to be used from Sharon on this front position to try and see if they can manage to survive through it, but does get ticked out of this fight by that Flux.
Oh, and they use the Transcendence as well, which means that Pressure's going to have a Transcendence in this next fight, or Pressure's going to have a Gravitic Flux that won't have any counters to it unless C-Wave hits something with an EMP or hacks him out of it. It's actually going to get forced back. 3 minutes left for time resume to move forward. They have to be extremely wary of where this EMP is coming from. Mighty Lord and POV hugging each other like they're never going to see each other again.
Nope, and you can see now the EMP lands onto 3. Bolt supports are alive, but can't seem to get enough healing on top of Xiaolian nor Mocha to survive through it with the follow-up, so that's going to be a fight win here.
I mean, it's kind of one you have to take as well, and that's a nice stick coming in from Mike Lee. And that's just one you take on the chin. It's an EMP. There's not much you can do about it, but Up Academy need to be careful that they're not over-pressing here. Xiaolian can definitely pump out enough damage to make you question how far you're pushing forward, as Halevidan has actually switched over to the McCree. Again, really like this decision and adjustment because it offers you more of that CC to deal with Ion, deal with Mike Lee, and deal with Seaway, who have been just getting into that back line for free.
Enough top does get flashbanged out and is very vulnerable. Has to force the defensive nature with that shielding. The Flux comes through up front. Doesn't actually manage to get too much, but actually, well, it's a support, so that's worth at least something here. But they've got the spawn advantage, so it should just be able to come back into this, especially with Seawave getting a quick double.
C-Wave and Mike Haley have been playing lights out so far. C-Wave about to get another EMP. Mike Haley coming in with the Pulse Bomb, and time resume for how well they played those first 2 parts of this map. It's been a struggle here on the 3rd part, and their time bank, which looks so good, has dwindled down to only 1 minute and 30 seconds. Luckily, they're going to have a Transcendence and a rally to move forward with in this next fight.
Mocha trying to find that high ground position near the stairs to harass his supports. Does get knocked back. Keeps some distance. Televidan waiting for Mike Haley has to force a recall quickly to get out of there and not find themselves back at the spawn. When the stick comes through onto Helevidan, so it's an even 1-for-1, but you're going to have the loss of the support, and ZXZ has to force the rally here, generating armor to long last this fight until they get the support back online. But with off eliminated, they now solely have to rely onto Ion. Up Academy getting a little bit disjointed right now, and time resume is going to take full advantage of it.
Oh, and there's the EMP from C-Wave. It actually hits onto 4. POV is down, and there was no defense matrix from Pressure to be able to negate the damage, and those are 2 kills that Up Academy need to continue to hold here, but they don't have a lot more in their bank of ultimates, Rich. They have a Transcendence, luckily enough, to match the one coming in from Mighty Lord, but besides that, it's a little bit of a scary situation, and Halevidan has been doing such a good job of making Mike Lee, Ion, and C-Wave's life miserable with these flashbangs.
Helevidan taking an angle to find the supports, can't seem to land the shots. The minefield comes out with a pile drive, but they're locked in the midst of it. POV is eliminated, the Transcendence can't keep them alive. Discord Orb now on to Xiaolian, focusing down the Tracer, but does evade out of the sight lines of Mighty Lord, so it can't seem to stay there any longer as Helivadan goes down. Defensively, Up Academy is in a prime position as long as they can just continue to sustain through the return damage of Time Resume. The health values are low, the spawns are not close, the overtime should shred away, and you will have Up Academy able to keep this no one can touch in time, seconds late, and a hack to ensure that they will go no further.
Now the win condition is set here for Up Academy. Just get it all the way basically to the end, and you will be going forward as our third seed to match up against Team Chaser in that loser's bracket. I think the matchup that we would have all been expecting here, Rich, and I think for Time Resume, I mean, they had a lot of really good ideas in terms of rotating their, composition and adjusting, but Up Academy didn't really do that on the first 2 points, right? But the first point went away really quickly, and really good job from Time Resume, switching over to the double spam. I love that decision. But Up Academy, C-Wave going on to the Widowmaker, didn't really get a lot of value. Took them way too long to switch over to meaningful swaps, putting C-Wave on this on the Sombra. I think was a good decision because Ion Mocha had been doing such a good job of getting in that backline, and if you hack out that Hammond, he's not going to be able to get away, especially against the Zenyatta. So I think a lot of good decisions coming in from Time Resume to swap, but Up Academy, if they had maybe made their swaps a little bit sooner, potentially wouldn't have been left with only, as much time as they got.
I also feel that it was more so just the environment that they were working with, too, in conjunction with the composition. When you're in that smaller corridor, you've got those, avenues and architecture in an enclosed area to work with, and I feel that that's also something that really benefited Up Academy on that defensive side versus where it's those open spaces in this first and second point.
Time Resume here on the defensive end, sticking with Helivadan, going to be on that Ashe. Has some really good sightlines to work with, but Up Academy, like the swaps that they're moving with here, switching more towards a spammy style, giving that Hanzo the ability to break some of the shields and try and take this high ground and rotate yourself away towards that point through that lower side.
Big dynamite, though, from Helivadan to get that early lead so that they've got that Bob play. But Mike Lee is going to shut it down, so the early advantage that they had is going to fall short. With now Mike Lee harassing around, just whizzing past the opposing side. Oh my goodness! That halt plus Immortality Field was a train wreck for Time Resume.
Yeah, that is just clean, calm, and collected from Up Academy, who are starting to roll now through this map. They're going to have such a great time bank on the second point. Now, the interesting thing here is I wonder, will they swap it all? Because this is a little bit more of an open area for Mocha to kind of bowl around with the Hammond, and there's going to be a lot of disruption coming in, but here comes the Amplification Matrix. They want to go.
Oh yeah, green means go, friends, and they're just going to press onto this catwalk, dislodging Time Resume from this position. They have to abandon it, but as I say that, there is a lot of return damage from Xiaolian along with Helivadan from this narrow stairway. C-Wave can't really even find any sort of value in that space to get some decent shots either.
See Mike Lee just trying to poke at Xiaolian here. Cart's still moving forward here for Up Academy. They just have to be so careful of where Mocha is at every single time. They don't want to be in a position to get bowled over. Mike Lee has to recall.
Barely does. Mocha just stuns going by as you've got the Flux coming out by pressure and making sure that they can get an Immortality Field to sustain through it, but now the return damage comes into the narrow doorway. You have Time Resume exploiting and advancing forward to shut down Up Academy as they have to force the rally. They still have some armor left and can back out.
Time Resume here. I mean, still holding up a pretty valiant defense with 4 minutes about for Up Academy now. And this is where Up Academy, though, have to really put all their chips on the table because they have to use these ultimates that they have accrued to move forward because it's so hard to take space away from a ball composition like this when you're on double shield and you're a little bit more immobile. You don't want to be caught in a position where you're getting bowled and you're having to move around.
The lack of mobility is really starting to punish them. Dragon Strike now comes through. The mines are managing to lock them near that doorway. They can't easily bypass it to that next room of coverage. Rez onto Mocha gets the harassment back online as there's actually a nice bump into that minefield onto ZXZ.
And actually, these ultimates from Up Academy haven't been able to come out yet, which has been really scary. These tank ultimates have been held for so long because Time Resume just has not given Up Academy the chance to set up and use them in a great way because, again, look at how open it is on the second point around that pylon terrace. Even if you use your supercharger, there's a definite possibility with Mocha that you just get bowled away from it and it gets taken out very quickly. And Up Academy, again, maybe taking too long to switch their composition, I think, here.
Yeah, I agree with the switching of the comp. It needs to come through soon. This is honestly what I would say is the last opportunity before really abandoning ship and attempting a new nice hauled stun, though, coming through from the accretion. Would not get the execution as Helvadan gets topped up down below. Lee still nearing that cart to make sure that it progresses forward. You've got pressure so low. The kinetic grass gives just enough armor to buy time. The supports to top him off as Mocha repositions up top across that catwalk, and the supports are in sightline, attempting to see if they can find value, but pressure comes in with a return. Looking for bolt tanks, does get both of them. Kinetic Grasp is here, but a focusing beam from behind it will ensure the takedown. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and this payload hasn't really progressed that far.
And this fight is still going on. Up Academy is actually trying to commit to this with the Amp Matrix as well, but even if they get a couple of kills, your respawns are going to be closer for time resume. Xiaolian ends up going down in a position that isn't resable, but Up Academy have to retreat here and go back to the cart, and again, they're still moving forward with this very immobile composition. Mocha is just living against this.
And Lee is really being the only one that's bobbing and weaving onto this payload to continue moving it forward. But now that they've got the high ground position, Up Academy looks to maybe just get these last few meters to their advantage. They're close. The stun onto Mocha prevents the harassment as the duplicate comes out. Once again onto the Sigma, nearing that flux to try and get into this as Seawave finds some shots onto the support, but can't manage to land enough of them as POV looks for the swap to try and counter Seawave, who does have to bail. POV now hyper-focused onto the healing down under to see if they can try and get some opportunity to shut down this Heroes arcade positioning that Up Academy is just bunkering in.
Oh, Seawave is going to get taken out right now by us. No DPS for Up Academy, and your arrest is gone. Again, another commitment from Charon with the Amp Matrix, but it's not enough. You got to reset here if you're Up Academy.
Yeah, Xiaolian just going to clean up here. Helvadan gets a beautiful dynamite to finish him off, and now they're in dire stretch here with just 1 minute and 15 to go.
Wholesale swaps too. Now they're making swaps. I mean, it took them so long, but now they're finally starting to switch off this Arista composition. But Rich, it's only 1 minute left. It's not enough for you to get an ultimate rotation unless you farm these ultimates so quickly. And POV making a very smart decision, seeing these swaps, hitting tab. I say it all the time, the most OP button in the game, switching over to a Brigitte to offer you some more of that CC against all of this dive coming in from Up Academy right now. And Seawave gets taken out. That's the worst case scenario right here. You can't fight this now if you're Up Academy.
Obliterated, and you've got the follow-up onto Ion. 40 seconds now with the fact. Oh no, and you're going to try and just see the follow-up. Sticky Mums almost get another pick here. If they're staggered out, that's going to be it.
They retreat, luckily, and keep their members alive. But again, look at their ultimates. Don't have a lot of them to work with. You're just going to have this Gravitic Flux from off, and you see Mighty Lord has been holding on to this Transcendence for that particular moment. Seawave trying to flank again, gets scouted out and pushed out. And 15 seconds is all that remains here, Rich.
I mean, it's not even just Mighty Lord holding us. I mean, this is a stack of 5 ultimates from Time Resume that they've got going into this. Off is going to get stunned in, and they're just preventing him from getting it. Seawave manages to get rid of 1. That's going in the right direction. Minefield comes out, but Helvadan eradicates 1. And now the second. The overtime continues. Mocha gets a double with the follow-up grasp underneath, and you're going to have Time Resume hold strong in Blizzard World and bring us into another map.
And I think this was just, Rich, a bit of an unfortunate situation for Up Academy where they really just got screwed over by their own rigidity in terms of their compositions, not making switches to different heroes fast enough, not doing exactly what Time Resume was doing, which Time Resume were making swaps like on the fly. Every second it felt like, look, we know what they're having, we're gonna swap. At the start, switching over to the double spam. At the very end there, switching over to Brig, knowing that everything that's coming into you is gonna be Tracer Sombra Ball. Like, really smart play coming in from Time Resume. And Up Academy, unfortunately, just did not make the swaps in time to deal with a lot of that.
I mean, we were at that 3-minute marker where you had the tank ultimates finally be used. They drew that fight out so long that it should have just been, like I said, abandon ship, force the comp swap, and I really think that what they had in the long run would have been able to yield value despite that the Brig came through. But again, you are absolutely correct. That adjustment in those dire moments allow Time Resume to really just hold defensively in this position and never gave ground in this open space. At 800, or correction, Mocha was stellar in this consistent Wrecking Ball play, constantly putting them in an absolutely uncomfortable position.
Yeah, I mean, Mocha is just doing such a good job of disrupting the composition of Up Academy, because Up Academy wants to play, very still. They want to just continuously rotate and move forward with their shields, but Mocha wasn't allowing them to do that. Mocha was bowling them over, always in a disrupting position, and when a composition like the double shield is like scattered all over the place, it's never going to work because you want to be behind those shields, and if you're not, you're going to get plastered by the enemy team. So really well played from Time Resume and Mocha specifically. I talked about if they were going to ever bring Akion in. They didn't, and it seemed to work out really well for them, and now they start their version of a reverse sweep. It's weird that we're seeing, was it Blizzard World in the last series as well that we start?
It was, yeah. I believe it was a mirror. It's basically just mirror, as we're going to have a little bit of a map change up, though, and it's going to be Dorado as our next map. We'll have Up Academy on the defense. So, with this positioning from, Up Academy defensively, there is going to be a lot of the high ground to play when it comes to this. The Ashe is going to be very vital. Would not be surprised to see Seawave basically residing on that a majority of the time, and really just understanding that trajectory of managing the high ground to the low ground and seeing if they can hold in those critical choke points.
And this is actually where I mean, to be fair, Mocha's been playing super well, so I would understand definitely if they kept Time Resume with that Hammond player. I would actually potentially expect Akion to come into this, because Akion is a Winston specialist, and if there's a map in like Overwatch that's really catered toward Winston besides like Gibraltar, Dorado is one of them. I think Dorado, you can play a lot of really good Winston here. But it looks like we're not going to have any swaps, so I mean, for Time Resume, you're believing in Mocha's ball play. It's been fantastic so far, and if Up Academy is going to continuously play into your hands, why switch it up at all?
I mean, I agree. I mean, you play to your strengths. This is the moment. You are just playing for every inch, because at this point you have no other option. Time Resume will have their time run dry if they find a lose, as we do see a 0-0 for both teams, and we get that lovely, lovely remix on this Dorado map. Let's just all kind of jam with it a little bit, friends. Let's just jam with it.
Vibe.
Yeah,
Vibe
absolutely.
Let's do some vibing.
I do really love this song. I could play this for hours.
It's good. I mean, it's good.
It really is. I would love to just like work out to this song and just be like jamming out. But as
I don't
we
know
do
if
have
it's a workout song, because I mean, I like, well, I don't know. People work out to different things. Some people work out to audiobooks. I gotta have that. I gotta have.
I could never do that. Power to
have,
you
like,
for learning while you're working out, but I gotta have some pump up music too.
Yeah,
I'm up in.
I gotta have some like really good, like, I'm gonna embarrass myself here, but Linkin Park is pretty good workout music.
Yes. Oh man, I know that. I'm old enough to know that, and probably
give me some One Step Closer, dude, when I'm
Yep.
lifting. Woo!
Absolutely, and honestly, the one step closer is going to need to happen here for Time Resume, because they have to continue stepping closer to completion of this round to make them still be in this and to not be overrun by Up Academy. They better be listening to some kind of music to bolster their morale, because they're going to need it, as you already see some great engagements coming through by Ion for this Wrecking Ball. Lots of crossfire here as well, making it challenging for them to press forward and just need to dislodge this defensive high ground.
And I didn't talk about this, but I'm already a little bit worried for Up Academy, because they're on the ball composition, and while Ion is like a fine ball, I think that Time Resume's ball composition, and Mocha specifically, have been on a completely different level, and they're mirroring right now, and that always scares me. When you're playing to the strengths, or when you're not playing to your strengths, but trying to mirror what the enemy is doing, that always is scary.
Pressure now playing hyper-aggressive, doesn't have the full charge energy, but still decent way. Actually finds a pickup onto the support line. So ZX, wow, Helivadan gets a quick double here. Even though they're going to get stunned up and locked in the back. Beautiful recovery by the support. 7 HP. Lucky number indeed for Helivadan to survive.
That should be not a first point, because I think Up Academy is going to be able to come back into this and be able to contest, especially with Ion and Mike Haley probably floating around this area, and they do have a pulse bomb. They also are going to be a little bit faster in terms of getting that bob, so it is definitely a position where Up Academy can try and recontest this.
With that recontention, it has to be now. Pressing through the doorway, Pulse Bomb comes into the backside, doesn't get value as a rally is entering into this engagement. Now with the extra armor towards the payload, gives them a chance.
Seawave's dead!
Pulse Bomb eliminating Seawave. And now Jalian attempting to find the backline positioning for a flank of their own. Bob committed into this because Helivadan had it available to give some extra oomph necessary to push this cart. Every ultimate imaginable coming out from Time Resume to just completely turn the tide.
Time Resume are looking so clean right now, Rich. Mocha is just on another level when it comes to this Hammond play, and you give him the safety net of having pressure on the Zarya, give him a bubble. I mean, look at it. Mocha's just soloing C-Wave in these positions. DPS, supports, none of you are safe when Mocha's around.
Nope. I'm going to be honest, Hell of a Dan just coming so close. Mike Lee, if you're not jumping, I mean, you'd be dead. I mean, duck, dodge, dive, and dodge, duck. Is that all 5Ds? I think that's all 5Ds. I think I missed one, but it's okay.
I want to rewatch Dodgeball now.
Yeah, it's okay. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody! As Hell of a Dan now has to dislodge from that high ground. Can't manage to stick up there since you do still have Ion pressuring him back. And really playing this inner corridor. Left caught alone, really. POV can't survive.
POV down, but the card throughout all of this has actually still been moving, Rich, and Up Academy this is free card progress. The Time Resume has gotten this entire time right now. Mighty Lord going down is going to be a big deal because that means that you've lost your Zenyatta. Your Brigitte also is a little bit far away, but I mean, to be fair, Up Academy losing that fight, how much of a loss really is it when they've pushed the cart that much? And Up Academy here holding as strong as they can. They have a Greater Flux to work with. They also have a Pulse Bump combo on top of that if they would choose to.
Xiaolian just continuing to harass that Wrecking Ball from Ion. Ion's just not even having it. Just gonna pile drive away down below into a very uncomfortable position. Has to force a quick rollout with the Discord Orb instantly placed on top. And I mean, the payload has really not moved any further, but Time Resume is just kind of buying their time to find an advantage to go in on it.
I mean, they really are at this moment, and Time Resume, I understand how they're just trying to play this slow because they have to kind of move forward and get Mocha into a position where he is right now. Mike Lee solo, forced out with that recall. Actually, he's going to get dove on. They're really, really making Mike Lee's life miserable here.
Yeah, and I mean, C-Wave finally gets the better end of this exchange over Hell of a Dan. They've got also Bob available. That's the picks that are necessary to stop this mobility, to put Time Resume in an uncomfortable position, and they're looking to try and funnel out through this doorway. They want even more. The pile drive comes through. Great stun coordination along with a flux into the Bob, but they're still committing quite a bit here, but still should have a few in the bank.
I mean, Time Resume have to retreat here. The unfortunate thing for them is that the card is so far away for them that they have no semblance of any type of respawn advantage, and actually, it's Up Academy who realistically have one. Ion needs to not die here. That would be really bad. Oh! Holimadan comes into the... They didn't expect it. From the top rope, he takes out the Zenyatta.
Big reposition and lands both shots necessary. Body, then the dome. Oh, stun from behind! Attempting to try and evade, barely does. Great job by the support, but a pull. Oh no!
Oh no!
The pulse bomb comes through, forcing out the Transcendence, but it unfortunately takes down your teammate. And with now only 2 meters left to go, double mines in the mix. You've got the Transcendence from Up Academy to eliminate the opposing minefield, and they should be able to hold on to this.
Yeah, with a nice pile driver from Up Academy, they have respawns, but Mocha comes back with their own. And with the rally, I think, from ZXZ, they should be able to be holdable for Up Academy. Ion does go down, though, and Holimadan's coming back in with the Bob.
Oh, and manages to get a pickup here. Mike Lee finally gets some value, which has been long awaiting for them. Pulse one going to be tossed, not going to stick, though. Shield is just going to allow a reposition backwards. Up top, even. I mean, C-Wave's in a heck of a whirl right now to just escape Mocha, which does eventually still go down. C-Wave can barely play the game with how much attention to detail Mocha's had.
I mean, Mocha has just been on basically C-Wave the entire time, and this is what I was talking about, where it's like it's so hard to play against a Hammond player of this caliber if you don't have any type of CC. Sure, you can coach gun away once, but you don't have an ability to really fight with the Hammond. You don't have it. It's not like a Sombra or McCree where you can right-click or you can hack and just shoot. Like, you don't have any way out besides just that single coach gun, and C-Wave, I mean, again, it feels like we've gotten to a point where there's been still that rigidity coming in from up.
Pressure. You're stuck in a small room, friend, and you are left alone.
They're winning,
but they're still winning, even though pressure's just up top. They all just corralled around and left their backs open and are going to find value in this push.
And they win with a lot of ultimates committed from Up Academy. That was Bob committed to that one, Gravitic Flux as well. And Time Resume's coming back into this one. They have a Gravitic Flux, no Transcendence on the other side. Realistically here, it has to be a miracle coming out from Mike Lee to try and hold this.
And as they're There's 40 seconds. Ion
Oh,
has
Ion!
to bail out
He's
of there. Barely survives. But ZXZ goes down. The pulse bomb comes through, and it lands. They've got the spawn advantage, but it's going to open up a window for them to continue pushing aggressively as the Flux now grabs one in the back. Off is going to fall immediately down with a quick double tap after by pressure. This is just a disaster for Up Academy, and time resume with the focus fire is going to allow them to complete this round of Dorado.
And they complete with time, which is also,
Yeah.
well, I mean, not as big of a deal here, but I mean, it's just a nice little tack
Perk.
on.
Little perk.
9 point seconds for them. But I think realistically, Up Academy's biggest struggle here is that they have no way to deal with Mocha. None. Mocha has just been living their best life, doing whatever they want on Hammond. They don't have anything to counter them. There's like maybe Accretion Rock is like the one thing, but that's not enough to kill Hammond. You need to really, I think, start to focus and respect Mocha a lot more.
Born free, free as the Hammond rolls, as free as can be. Okay, I'm sorry. I know you want to kill me. I know you want to kill me.
I don't. I mean, it's
Okay.
just, you know. It happens, you know.
I know. It's okay. We'll just let that simmer for a moment, as we do allow time resume to be on the defensive
I know
side.
you to always just be in a position where you like need to sing sometimes, you know. Just
I
get it
do.
out.
I have a real I just cannot wait to go to karaoke again, where it's not so like an uncomfortable position where everyone is like social distancing. Once this is all recovered, it's gonna be great to have a full house. Looks like we're actually gonna have a pause. So you're gonna hear more about karaokeing and stuff. So if you had to karaoke a song, what song would it be?
Go the Distance, 100% from Hercules. What?
Did we
Is that
just
your
have like a brother moment? That is
that your
literally
karaoke
my
song?
go-to song. I'm not even gonna lie. That is actually oh man, chat. We just
We're on the same.
just,
This
like,
is why
bonded.
we're casting partners.
we just bonded in a whole other way that I had never anticipated.
It's
Okay,
that
so,
or Girl Worth Fighting For would be the other one. But I think that one's more of an ensemble piece.
correct. Yeah, I would agree with that one. I would agree with that one. Bohemian Rhapsody, of course. So you've got a group of friends. Let's be
I
honest.
see a little. Well, I can't sing it. I don't want to get.
Hey, I mean, come on, let's be real. Oh, hey, we're back in. Hey, look at that. That was fast, because you guys were probably all tired of hearing us talking about karaoke songs. But you should let us know what your favorite karaoke song is. I would actually love to know what all of your karaoke songs are. You should seriously at me. And Kenobi, just to annoy him with his notifications. He gets so mad at me when I do this. But we're going to have the doors open as 4 minutes are here for Up Academy on the attack.
And Up Academy, again, when I see the Hammond play, I always just get a little bit scared for them, and still no counter, it looks like, to Mocha. I mean, they do have a little bit of a better option here on the offense, because it's a little bit harder for Mocha to set up on the defensive end with their bulls and stuff like that, so hopefully that helps Up Academy circumvent their need to really counter Mocha, as Mike A. Lee almost got plastered right there.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness. You're going to see now the pressure up through this awning as Mighty Lord and wow, nice engagement up top. You get rid of POV, but there's an even exchange, 2 for 2, and Time Resume on this defensive position's actually doing a very stellar job maintaining through those early losses.
And Hulivadan takes out Mike K. Lee. A lot of damage that's lost. You can look at the difference, I mean, between Mike K. Lee and Xiaolian right now in terms of just the ability to farm up that pulse bomb. Xiaolian way ahead and is going to have it in this next fight.
Yep. That's going to be a big advantage to look for a backline pick, especially if you've got your eyes fixated onto C-Wave, or even potentially ZXZ or the support lines. Is off now, continues to play some damage rotating around the center. ZXZ shuts down the Tracer play, which is vital for this maintenance on the attacking position. Off going to get a great aggression onto pressure, having to force the kinetic grasp, which isn't going to yield anything as this payload approaches.
And that's what I like to see more of from ZXZ specifically, keeping that shield bash for those members that are diving in either onto Mocha or onto the Tracer, because you need to really shut them down.
And here, this high ground from POV is going to get knocked back just a little bit with a Wrecking Ball. Mike K. Lee actually takes down Mocha. Great focus fire here. And you... Oh, wow. Both Zenyatta's eliminated, no longer having the Discord, or Mike K. Lee coming out real big with C-Wave's assistance, and the DPS line from Up Academy to a position of where they can utilize these ultimates. They've got the rally to compete on the high ground, attempting to knock off a few members. Nice flux onto 2. Mike Lee is eliminated, though, from Hellevadan, and they are recovering swiftly with a great Transcendence and also Minefield committed onto this balcony.
Oh, but that Gravitic Flux is huge, and there's no Transcendence to deal with it, but it doesn't matter. The kills are coming through, but Xiaolian is in the backline somehow, some way, trading back 2 of them, Rich.
Yeah, and, well, C-Wave not going to be up top here, aggressively taking the advantage, trying to force back both the Zenyatta play from Mighty Lord and also Mocha. Needs to be very careful here, gets the health pack. Oh, there's the quick double tap, and also a nice Coach Gun to knock back that pile drive.
Yeah, but Xiaolian is still alive. Actually, cast a curse that Xiaolian goes down, and these scrappy fights seem to always favor Time Resume in a certain way because Xiaolian seems to thrive in these chaotic fights, but eventually Up Academy do regain their composure and they're able to win that fight as Mocha so low here. Might get pulsed.
Ooh, nobody goes down,
bob
though.
to that? That's not ideal, I don't think. That's not a good bob. That's a very bad bob. Oh, no.
That's a BBOB, a bad Bob, a bad biotic,
Omnic Butler.
Omnic Butler.
Biotic
Yep.
Omnic Butler.
Yeah, bad bionic Butler. I'm done. C-Wave top and gonna continue to try and put damage into that archway so that they can approach this next checkpoint. With Ion getting rid of Hellevadan, that's one way to start it off as C-Wave still gets some great assistance. Mike Lee also gonna put in a ton of shots into the Wrecking Ball, chasing him down before they can even get to the health pack. Harmony Orb is not gonna be able to withstand it or heal through it. And this should be Up Academy able to just finish these last few meters.
But C-Wave isn't here in this fight, so that means Hellevadan has free sightlines onto this point right now. Xiaolian does get taken down, which is a big pick, but the trance is enough healing.
Mike Lee barely gets the recall to evade and is escaping as ZXC takes down their counterpart. No longer going to have the Tracer play. Hellevadan now has to try and move to the outskirts of that. The Pulse Bomb actually comes through but doesn't get anything. This is where Up Academy is just going to look to clean up, reach the checkpoint, and now have 3 minutes and 15 to work with.
Oh! I mean, that shot was pretty nuts. It's not going to matter too much, but oh my god, Hellevadan, that was like a 360 no-scope, it felt like. That was something else. And Up Academy moving forward with a wealth of a better time bank than what Time Resume had on their own end here. But not a lot of ultimates to work with here, Rich. They do have a bob from C-Wave. Hopefully this one's a little bit better than the last one, but Time Resume, in terms of just ultimate economy, have way more valuable ultimates coming up in this next fight.
Ooh, nice pile drive to come through. Mocha. Minefield is going to be tossed out by an Ion to make sure that they can continue keeping control of that upper positioning. And honestly, if they can continue to stagger out picks like this despite the respawn advantage, they're going to be in a good position. Ooh, nice shot to maneuver to the side so they do not get picked up to keep this bob because of the long respawns.
Oh, and that accretion actually hits from long distance, but they aren't able to secure the kill onto Mighty Lord, who is coming up close to that Transcendence, and that could be an ultimate that completely changes this fight.
Minefield way overhead, looking to see if they can get a pile drive to follow up. Discord Orb is going to make Mocha's life miserable, but they still survive, and C-Wave is eliminated. No longer going to have that pressure from the high ground. Mike Lee at least tries to equalize 1-for-1 on the DPS line as the Dynamite starts giving some extra opportunity for just peppering in damage. You now have Bob still being held onto by Hellevadan for the long run with 1 minute and 50 seconds to go, and C-Wave is going to go onto legs.
He is just for the stall, just trying to get back as quick as they can and help the team out. Pulse Bomb doesn't manage to hit anything, and here's the Bob. That should be able to stall enough for Time Resume
Tucked into the corner, Time Resume, just looking to stop that cart before the green box of victory on the floor. Up Academy is playing very defensive at the moment. They're trying to regroup as a full 6. Nice pickup, though, for 1, but still the respawn. Nice, gets the double. Oh, my goodness, C-Wave, and they get the completion. They don't touch it. Oh, my goodness, that's 2. That's 2.
I think that's a little bit of a Charlie night, especially since they had Trance. Oh, that one's going to really hurt. I mean, 1 minute and 10 seconds isn't... It's like... This means that Up Academy, if they don't win the first fight and they get stalled a little bit, they still are going to have enough time to get a full ultimate rotation, most likely. Time Resume, it's a lot much more on a knife's edge for them. They realistically have to play their offense impeccably well, which they did, let's be fair, when we first saw them attacking with Mocha playing around, but it is a little bit of a scary position for Time Resume here, and remember, they're still on their last legs, right? They need to be able to win this map to continue playing and continue their journey in this tournament. And for Up Academy, you do have that one, you have the time bank advantage a little bit, so that's definitely some momentum you can use.
And hopefully, Up Academy can end the run now, but time resume. They're going to give everything they've got in these 60 seconds to find themselves into a map 4. It's a tall task, it's a tall order, but it's something that they can look to persevere with the way that they've played.
Time resume. Up Academy on the defensive end opting for that Hammond comp again. We'll see if they've learned Mocha's tricks along with Shalion going to the backline. You already saw them rolling out of that spawn area. They're looking for someone in that backline to take down.
Ooh, look at that early pile drive up top, attempting to knock off a few, but actually doesn't really get much value. Ion playing that upper balcony position originally just to get some intel on what the composition looks like. Might look to try and round the backside. Needs to be extremely careful if they do look for the flank. Still going to be very defensive here. Again, it's only the minute. Mighty Lord gets rid of but Mighty Lord is down. He's got the backline aggression. That is going to be Up Academy throttling forward, blitzing onto all that remains of time resume. 16 seconds. They'll be able to at least get back to this payload to touch, but it's not going to be a well-refined engagement.
Yeah, and Mocha's in the backline trying to figure out a way, but they actually have eyes on where Mocha is. Mocha gonna get so low, they can't take him out. Oh, he's so low, they didn't get him.
Oh my goodness, barely curves the corner, just basically weaving the bullet around the edge, and now the overtime continues. They're still getting progress. That is important to get as far as possible in this overtime. Helivadan looking now to get the dynamite up top to try and near this Bob play, which can give that extra player necessary to try and harass, but almost gets pile driven on that backline position and repositions as well for an opportunity, but Sea-Wave is there to shut it down. Numbers advantage. It's going to continue to just push through, and actually they're getting quite a bit of distance, almost actually lose it there, barely able to touch it again. Transcendence comes out by Mighty Lord. That will give them a new breath of life for this, but the counter by ZXE, the rally, armor plating necessary to fortify just under 3 meters as the picks now start to come through. Transcendence has to come out by Charin in the back as you've got off with that flux up top, rising and falling, removing them from this position. Kinetic grasping all of the Bob damage to get the extra shielding to survive through it, and that should be it. There is the position that matters most for Up Academy to reach.
They got it pretty far, though, Rich.
Yeah.
And it looked like they weren't even going to win the fight, and they didn't actually. There wasn't, like, realistically a fight that Time Resume won at all there.
No.
They just kind of pushed the cart forward. Up Academy had everything to play for, and look, it's basically at the end. I mean, this is still a winnable scenario for Up Academy, but Time Resume got all that they could off of that single minute that they had.
I mean, the biggest concern is, of the 3 segments, this was the fastest that Up Academy had worked through. The second portion and the third and final one was the most challenging. So, if Up Academy can keep that same type of strategy and momentum that they had in the previous run, with the timing that they have, they should be able to complete it. But yes, you are absolutely correct that Time Resume did gain still a very marginable distance. Like, I was really surprised myself that they were able to get it that far, because I thought it was really going to stop into the archway. But then it moved a little further by that middle fountain area. Then it continued to go because there was a lot of play off of the point itself.
Yeah, Up Academy, I mean, you even saw, like, Ion and Mike Haley dove onto Helivadan, who was just by the spawn. And at that point, that means that both of those members aren't there to contest cart and juggle it. And realistically, if you're any of the members of Up Academy, the rest of the 4, it's very hard for you to contest against a Hammond and all those members from Time Resume on that cart. As we see Up Academy come out, no changes from them in terms of composition.
Dynamite into the archway, doesn't find any value. Harassment comes out swiftly, though, by Jalien. The Tracer has to force the recall and is not going to risk anything here. Now dropping down below, has the Harmony Orb to sustain with some extra healing in return. And again, it's just really going to be working towards these ultimates, and Jalien is taking a vast lead here over Mike A. Lee.
And at this point, it's weird. Up Academy haven't really moved the card at all during all of this. They've taken a lot of time off the clock. It feels like they're playing so slow. But Time Resume, to their credit, has been doing a great job of juggling. You see Shalion is continuously on that cart, contesting it, not letting Up Academy move it forward at all.
Helivadan can't really find the mark here on multiple targets. It's really only the tanks, and even then, it's still shy from getting the maximum value. Almost gets the pick. Jalien is down. Off takes the advantage. 6 versus 5, and you're going to see this rotation back from Time Resume. They can't seem to play this far forward now.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge, though. You take out Xiaolian, who's been the one who's been continuously contesting. He's not in the picture anymore as Up Academy going to start trying to move forward. Now, pressure gets so low. Puts the shield up in time.
Oh, nice pile drop up front, but gets stunned. Lockdown. Mocha's eliminated. That just might be the nail in the coffin they need. Extra healing up front onto Off, who is continuing to be that shield that is necessary up front and mitigating the damage with the kinetic grasp. Pulse Bomb, though, is available, looking to try and... Oh, the stun comes out, barely gets the recall out of there in the back line, and they still have a chance to try and do this. 30 seconds left to go, Kenobi.
Up need to reset here. They don't have ZXC. They need to reset. They do not have the healing to continue this fight. They need to get out there. They're stuck. They're stuck, Rich. No. This is a disaster. This is it's disastrous for Up Academy here.
Oh my goodness, they're gonna have 20 seconds now to get back onto this. It might just be Time Resume able to hold on to this. They had a 2-minute and 10-second time bank, and they could just end up faltering here at the end and buckling at the knee.
8 seconds. They will get one last recontest. They are going to get someone to be able to get to this cart, but Halibadan's coming in with a Bob. Seawave has one of their own. Mike Haley with the Pulse Bomb. Oh, has to force out recall extremely early.
Oh,
Seawave's
no!
down! No
They've
Bob!
gotten 2. It's going to be Time Resume taking the advantage. Bob comes in as it's a 7 versus 4. The Transcendence is a hope and a prayer, but the minefield will say otherwise. Time Resume play this perfectly and without any sense of hesitation. They are going to allow this to go into a map 5. We will see another series this evening go to it, and Time Resume has the chance of making this now an opportunity of a full reverse sweep, just as we saw earlier by Team Chaser.
The maximum amount of Overwatch we could have had without ties. We get it here, Rich. Map 5s. Another potential reverse sweep. That's the other thing. Remember, Bilibili was up 2-0. Up Academy was up 2-0, and now we're at map 5s with both of these series, and I gotta give huge credit to Time Resume. Understanding how to play that defense. Xiaolian was just being an absolute menace continuously, just contesting the cart, and because, like, if, like, realistically, Up Academy gets a little bit more time after that last fight there, they potentially could have won, but really good understanding of the win conditions coming out from Time Resume.
I mean, it was really just, I think, a little bit of too much early game hesitation in that 2 minutes and 10 seconds. We commented on it where the payload really didn't move that much. They didn't find as much value. They played it a lot more in slow tempo. I mean, again, we understand that they're trying to get to the ultimate economy that they can use to carry them into that last end position. But taking that fight and getting stuck in that small room, like you commented, was absolutely crucial for Time Resume to take advantage of.
Yeah, I think there was, like, you had to have reset there or just die quickly, like, die on cart. It was, I think, a little bit of scaredness as well from them. Like, you don't want to be in a position ever to do that, but unfortunately sometimes you just have to. And map 5 it is, Rich. Here we are again for a second series in a row.
I mean, for those that are tuning in that want to see some Overwatch ever since Owl has ceased, I mean, we're looking to give you that action. So we've got that on just the other side of this break. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch that browser. Don't even think about deviating away, because we're going to be bringing you this 5th map to see who's going to be moving on to see Team Chaser.
Is your SR in the toilet? Are you losing every 1v1 you try to take? Do you deserve a higher rank, but your teammates just keep feeding? You aren't alone, but now you can ditch the defeat screen and learn from the best by subscribing to Overwatch Contenders. Watching Contenders matches works with your immune system to increase your gaming ability. It tackles the problem at the source and heightens your game sense. And ringing the bell is clinically proven to increase your ability to click on heads. So instead of waiting for Smurfs to carry you every game, learn from the best and become the carry yourself. Overwatch Contenders is not for everyone. Consult your doctor before pressing that subscribe button. Side effects may include carry performances, increased levels of copium, higher risk of C9ing, throwing for content, increased reaction times, and back problems when carrying the weight of your team. It's time you took control of your SR. Ask your doctor about subscribing to Overwatch Contenders today.
We return again, friends, but this time I think we can definitely say it's the last time we'll be returning before signing off, because this is the 5th map for our 2nd series. We are going into Control. It is feasibly impossible. Well, it really is.
No,
Unless,
it is.
I mean,
it's
there's
literally.
I know
You can't. If somehow we tied Control,
the game system just crashes. Everything just crashes. No,
go on
servers,
Overwatch 2, you know?
Yep, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Rolling it up to 2. So, but no, for reals, we have had a lengthy day with all of you, and it has been exciting. And then also the fact that we're going this long also helps you get your skins. So in the long run, this is what helps you. Having stuff like this, which we're also excited to cast, because, I mean, we said it in predictions, and we were thinking, like, yeah, you know, Up Academy is the one favored to go into this. Same thing as we saw with Bilibili, and now we find ourselves in map 5s. We're going into Lijiang Tower, Kenobi, and I mean, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen here, but the momentum is all on the side of Time Resume. But we did see, like, how Bilibili came back with their win against Team Chaser in that 5th map. But, I mean, the thing about it is with Time Resume, I think the thing that they have been doing, if Time Resume does end up winning this, I'm giving player of the match to Mocha. I'm just throwing that out there right now, because I think he's been the linchpin for everything in terms of what Time Resume has been succeeding at. I also think he's been really good at just creating space and disruption and allowing Halevidand and Mocha and Xiaolan to pop off. But look at this win record
this
here.
Stat.
7-0 for Up Academy.
This stat right
0-4 for Time Resume. If the Time Resume has a tall mountain to climb here to complete this reverse sweep here, Rich.
Mount Kilimanjaro, it's the only one that came to my head for right now, is a treacherous beast. And that's what Up Academy is right now to Time Resume. They need to break their losing streak on Lijiang Tower, and they're starting on the map of Gardens. C-Wave now going to opt to go onto the Sombra play with Mike Lee in tandem onto the Tracer, so they've got a lot of harassment and really going to try and have a little bit more of an interesting tempo to get that EMP online. While Time Resume is going to look to fall back here. They don't want to risk going into this nice pickup here onto that support play, so Up Academy is solely going to have to regroup and play close together until they get it, but even off is going to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, with the Zen going down so early by Xiaolong, that means that Time Resume can play so much more aggressively because they don't have the threat of the Discord Orb or of the Zenyatta damage, so that's going to be Time Resume picking up this first point here, and Up Academy just got completely turned around by Xiaolong going into the backline and one-clipping that Zenyatta, and now it's going to be Up Academy trying to get back onto this point here. They're going through White Room, C-Wave seeing what they can get. They're trying to get Xiaolong.
Yeah. I mean, again, they have to go through White Room. They're not going to want to risk with how well Mocha's been playing. But I mean, look at
they're not doing anything.
No, they're kind of just like on the outskirts, attempting to just like say hello every now and again with a fond wave. As you've got Mike Lee still, they're looking for these supports so heavily. This pulse bomb's gonna get
CXC.
2. Oh my goodness! What a pickup!
CXC shield bashed into his teammate on accident, trying to take out Xiaolian. Oh, that's such an unfortunate situation there. And Up Academy just, they look slightly lost. They don't know like where to go, what to do, who to focus on, because you see how them like trying to take down Xiaolian. C-Wave. Okay, well, it's falling apart right now for Up Academy. C-Wave cannot be dying in a situation like that. That is just more time taken off the clock, less time for you to get EMP, and Time Resume is already at 65% about.
I mean, with the way that they're playing, it makes me just wonder how they're a 7-0 on this map. I mean, this has got to be cleaned up instantly for them.
Well, because they have Jihoon. They had Jihoon.
That's true. I mean, they've got 70% already for Time Resume. They're going to have to go in this, and this is really, honestly, last fight territory. Everything lies on this EMP.
Yeah, C-Wave needs to get this one and needs to get it quickly. Will get it right now. Oh, actually has to translocate out from Mocha. That means he's not in position.
Mighty Lord looking for a volley in the back, attempting to try and find Mike Lee, forces the Transcendence, goes forward to see if they can get the assistance.
It missed.
And now you're going to have the EMP lose all value. The win condition has been lost. Time Resume comes out on top for round 1 in what an unbelievably perplexing fashion. Up Academy, what is going on?
It's like the same issue that we saw with BLG, just so slow. Hammond, Sombra, Tracer compositions like that are always so slow. Like, you have to realistically just continuously try and farm up your EMP. You got to get your Hammond set. But Time Resume says, no, we're not doing any of that. We're going into the back line. We're playing aggressive. And Up Academy just were not ready for it.
Oh, we're gonna have a pause here. This is gonna be a moment for us to take a breather, because that just I actually don't know what to say to that. Like, that was just completely out of character from Up Academy and how they played that. And I mean, I guess it might have.
To be fair, I would say that the slower style is more favorable to Up Academy. It's when, though, that they have Jihoon. Jihoon, I think, is like very good at like playing that like very slow like Hammond setup style, or if they want to play the Orisa, it doesn't look the same now. It looks just so slow, and Time Resume is just, with all the momentum that they have, just going forward. Xiaolian is in the backline, one clipping Charon, like things like that. Time Resume, or Up Academy rather, is just not doing. They are not in a position to be the aggressor. They're always playing on the back foot, it feels like, and now they're in real possibility right now that they get reverse swept and they are about to completely just fall out of this tournament.
I mean, it was really just a slew of unfortunate events. I honestly don't think they anticipated the pulse bomb being up that quick. When once it was tossed out into the stun, that was just an unfortunate turn of events. Sea-Wave getting eliminated off the edge, unfortunate turn of events. Like, everything in that round stacked against them. And in this in this round of Night Market, they got to take out all the stops, and they got to turn this around to get this 2 rounds win.
Time Resume. I mean, I think they're going to go back and switch their composition. Yes, this definitely makes a lot of sense. So they see the rush composition, and what they're going to switch now to is more spam. And what Xiaolian is going to do, he's going to be playing around the edges of this point, trying to spam down and find some picks into Up Academy, force some cooldowns. They're going to play it a little bit more on the slower side, waiting to see if they can find any types of openings.
Looking to get mitigated for most when it comes to the defense matrix, blocking every opportunity possible. Oh no, almost gets the boop, followed up immediately after with those rockets. Now, what an anti-player Bionade. That lob from Mighty Lord just cracked open this egg.
And who starts it out again? It's Mocha there with the bowl into the point, takes everyone outside of it, forces out the immortality field from Charon because Xiaolian also was doing so much damage, and Up Academy now have been forced off of their point, which is where they want to be with a composition like this, and now that they don't have a Symmetra, they're going to have to spend a lot of time rotating onto this point, and it's going to be very scary for them walking out anywhere where this Pharah can get a lot of spam into.
There's so much on ZXZ2 for the utility to move across that open space. It's going to be just challenging, as now you've got the nano boost on to Xiaolian with these rockets just doing so much into this small position, attempting to try and get to the rocket barrage, but isn't going to be able to gain value just because at this point, Up Academy's just going to sit back and wait until it's gone.
And Xiaolian coming up on...
Oh, that's big.
Oh, that was a nice shot from Mighty Lord. Onto Mighty Lord. But there are still members of Time Resume alive.
They have to
Up
take that
Academy has to
advantage.
get to the point. They have to get to the point. They have to get to the point.
They need to do it now. It's going to be now or never. It's 45%. They're finally managing to get onto this position. If they do get the lockdown onto the Diva play, as the minefield comes through overhead by Mocha. Pressure survives. A boop comes in by ZXZ to eliminate him, but now with Xiaolian up top looking for the rocket barrage, instantly going to be focus fired, especially when you've got off boost right up to the top. The res comes through though. Pressure takes down Ion, and Time Resume is holding on to this Sea-Wave. Oh, you need a masterful play right now. You need to take and channel your... Oh, no! The Pulse Bomb gets 2. The inner Pineapple doesn't come out here, and you're going to now see the last fight territory for Up Academy.
What a clutch from Holividan there at the very end with that double stick, and Up Academy. It's all falling apart for them right now. 80% by the time they get to this next fight, Time Resume will be in last fight territory, and it's desperate swaps. You even see Lee foregoing completely a Blizzard just to offer some potential to get some CC and put pressure onto Xiaolian.
Holividan trying to use the best of their ability on this Tracer play. You've got Lee getting a couple of shots. You can hear it, but doesn't get the execution up top. Sea-Wave goes down. The rocket lands because the sleep hit. And now the overtime comes in. They have to touch into this. Off is into the corner. They get rid of Sharon. It's only ZXZ for the support. And now Xiaolian with the nano boost onto the Pharah, trying to play the inner corner as you do have Off pushing back onto the position. But Ion's going to get stuck into the back. They need the self-destruct. Both supports are gone. This is now the just dire moments for Up Academy. The Oh, they're not going to do it. The time's going to go down. They're scrambling to touch this point, and Time Resume is going to take this, Kenobi. They actually eliminate Up Academy in a map 5 with a reverse sweep and move on to Chaser. And I am just floored by this right now.
The Cinderella story continues for Time Resume. I mean, what a clutch at the end there from Halevidan and from the entirety of Time Resume. I am floored with how good this team is and how good they've been. The adaptations that they're making on the fly, the switching, like, understanding that, like, we need to switch to the Pharaoh, we need to switch to all of these different heroes. Throughout all of the maps that they won, they had the better time in terms of adjustments. We even saw Up Academy there, like, holding on to Blizzard and holding on to their rush composition. Like, how are you going to be able to play against the spam composition on Lijiang Night Market like that? You have to rotate onto the point, and it just felt like Time Resume was the winner of the rock, paper, scissors game that we call Overwatch. Hats off to them, the 5th seed taking out the 3rd seed and getting top 3.
I mean, it was not just a rock crushing scissor, it was like an iron fist crushing scissor with how that just happened. And I mean, Door with the randomizer.
That's right, he
there
got a perfect.
Go.
Yeah, he did. He
got it
did
right.
Get a perfect one.
We'll
Finally,
give him that one.
Him...
We'll give him that reverse sweep, because my goodness, I'm very pleasantly surprised. Really, really am. I mean, stellar
really
play from both sides, and I mean, we already talked a little bit about going
player
into
of the
this
match.
Player of the match. That's what I mean.
We know who it is.
You mentioned it. We're gonna call it. It's gonna be
Mocha.
It's gonna be Mocha.
I mean, we don't have a picture, but like, just imagine a nice Mocha cup of coffee here or something right there. Just like everything that Mocha did from the matches that they won, like even in the matches where they didn't, Mocha was just everywhere. Like even at the start of Lijiang, when they go back and they swap over to a different composition, who's the one who makes that first engagement? It's Mocha. Mocha was the focal point, and Mocha enabled the rest of the team, and definitely deserving of this player of the game. And Time Resume deserving of this upset.
5th seed taking down the 3rd, which we've put in so many eggs in that basket of saying that it's the top 3. I mean, that's saying a lot, because in so many previous discussions, in so many previous story meetings, and talking about how Up Academy has grown and got to this position, we cannot discredit their work. Like, to be very honest, like, they have truly done it tremendous, but it was just in these moments like this where it all fell apart.
It's heartbreaking, I think, for Up Academy, because I wonder what this looks like if Jihoon's able to play. I genuinely do wonder how this series looks, because the series was really close, and maybe Jihoon is that little edge that Up Academy needed. But I think hats off to them for putting on a great performance throughout this tournament, getting really good towards the back end of it, just unfortunately at the very end falling short, but definitely a place to hang their hat on, because I think they definitely had a great season, one of the best seasons, if not the best season I've ever seen a Guangzhou Charge Academy team have. So again, unfortunately heartbreaking for Up Academy, but definitely some players that you're going to be seeing later. So we're going to be checking out our schedule for tomorrow, Rich, the final day of the English broadcast of Chinese Contenders. As we actually got a recap first, so we had 3-2, 3-2, 5-game series both the way. Just one team was able to complete the reverse sweep, and the other team wasn't.
You know, the one outcome we anticipated, even though it was rough, and one that put us on edge and has definitely surprised us. The Cinderella story does continue as we take a look at the bracket, how everything has gotten to this point. I mean, just looking at the adventure, Time Resume moves forward, loses to Bilibili. One of those things that we said was going to be a challenge, finding themselves in the bottom, completely working their way through that loser's bracket to now face off against Team Chaser, who we've said Up Academy and Team Chaser have been a real competition between the two. Time Resume with how they've played, and if they can continue to move forward, we can see quite a match. And this is the schedule for tomorrow to set us up, Kenobi.
Yep. Team Chaser versus Time Resume to see who will get third and who has the prize of fighting Bilibili Gaming in those grand finals. It is scheduled to be a fantastic day of Overwatch, and as we finally get to crown our Season 2 champions, it's going to be fantastic.
6 p.m. 6 p.m. PDT, and then 8 p.m. PDT is when we look to see you. We are absolutely anticipating having all of you participate that have been here today for this extensive run. You have been an absolute joy being a part of our shenanigans and giving your polls on our random questions of Capri Suns or music highlights, and probably going to get some more ats in about a moment as we get to the end of this. But we really truly do have to appreciate all of you who continue to support this tier 2 and just all of these regions. It is absolutely amazing to have you here to give that support and also get a little bit back. You get those lovely skins, and we gave you some extra time today with that. But I mean, cannot wait for tomorrow, Kenobi. It is going to be a stellar day to close out this season 2 and the Overwatch 1 Chinese Contenders region. But with that being said, all of us here at the production, thank you so very much. We truly appreciate your time. We hope you have a wonderful night. Take care, happy gaming, and we'll look to see you next time.